Welcome back to another episode of the Otter Players Podcast, where this week we'll talk about Jason Schreier confirming PlayStation pulling their titles from PC for all future single player tentpole titles, Xbox announcing Helix, their next gen Xbox slash PC console, Nintendo's Indie Showcase, and much more. But before that, we'll go ahead and see what everybody's been playing and jump right into it. Weeb, how are you, sir, and what have you been playing?
Well, it was good till I heard the news that Nagoshi is getting the axe. Thought we were gonna get eating good, having two Yakuza studios producing Yakuza games, and now they're gonna
Mm.
pull that dream away from me. But yeah. Um. Well, yeah, what I've been playing. I've been playing God of War: Sons of Sparta. Uh, kind of got hooked since last week, and I've just been plowing through and getting all the collectibles and uh, beating all the bosses. Yeah, it's pretty fun so far. It is a bit buggy. It has I've had to restart it a couple of times where it just got stuck or the screen turned black and didn't do anything, which cost me a little bit of progress because the game apparently doesn't auto save. Um, but yeah, it is overall, a fun game. It explores a bit more of the Greek mythology than the previous games did. It's kind of fun seeing, yeah, young Kratos with it, and yeah, his relationship with his brother Demos. And if you played other games, you know how that relationship will turn out to be. Um, yeah, it is. It can be challenging at times, but overall, it's yeah, very polished experience in terms of combat. You have so many different options. You have spears can have elemental effects or poison enemies. You can you have a shield where you can upgrade to either make it more easy to parry or getting more health. Um, only thing is it's still kind of convoluted sort of how to trigger certain special abilities because the game doesn't sort of dumps that onto you, and I don't think it's really um, uh, really recorded in your lexicon how you do all the special moves. So you kind of have to usually sort of trigger them, yeah, as you go, sort of by coincidence. Like, oh, just use a special move. Okay, cool. Uh, was just a normal enemy. I didn't want to save it for the boss, but whatever. Um, but yeah, other than that, it's a fun game. It's pretty lengthy, even though they say it's on the shorter side. But if you do all the collectibles, as you would do in the Metrovania, and just go backtrack to areas where you've been, once you've locked new abilities, does help that you can put markers on your map with different colors and different icons. So it's indicate, hey, here's a chest, and you can also even take pictures of particular area, so you can always check, hey, okay, what was I supposed to do here? And then once you unlock the ability you need, instantly, where you have to go back to, and what you need to progress there. So yeah, there's plenty of yeah, I'm not sure of accessibility or ease of life. Um, yeah, improvements or features that they've implemented to make it more palatable. Um, yeah, and I think I will just keep on playing until I'm done, which probably won't be that long anymore. I've think I've unlocked all abilities, so I don't think a lot of exploration is left. And yeah, and then see what else I'm gonna play. I was planning to play Yakuza Kiwami 3, but now with the news with the Goshi, it's gonna yeah, maybe it's too soon. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, that's what I'm playing.
Cool, sounds good. Morgan, how are you, ma'am, and what have you been playing?
Oh yeah, I'm good. Finally got to start on, the March Madness of gaming right now. The first game being Planet of Lana 2. A sequel, obviously, to Planet of Lana 1. It definitely holds up as a sequel. They definitely went all in on like the puzzles and the platforming. They're even more intricate, but not. I really like the way they've done the puzzles in this game because it's not in the way that it's like, oh my god, frustrating, like I can't figure it out, and it's definitely not in a way where it's just, oh, and obviously intuitive and easy. Like you have to think about it, but it was nothing so hard that I had to be like, all right, I gotta look this up because I can't figure this out. Like some of the puzzles took me a good 2 to 3 minutes of just messing around trying to figure out, okay, what does this do? If I move this over here, what does that do? And then after that you have your aha moment. You're like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And then you figure it out, the puzzle. And I really like that in between where it makes you think, but not to the point where you get crazy frustrated, right? Um, and I think they did a really good job with that balance in this game because there were a lot of puzzles in this game. And they were all fun to try to figure out. And you're definitely using um like both of the playable characters in this point, Lana and her little cute little sidekick. So it's like, I don't know, it's really good. And as far as like the story goes, it answered a lot of the questions that I had in the first game. Essentially Planet of Lana is about a girl who is apparently living in this post-apocalyptic world essentially. It seems that the people that originally lived on Earth thousands of years ago had to leave the planet. I'm sure at no cause of our own, of course. And they had to escape on like a ship, and then they're on this new planet. But this is so far in the future that I think that the humans have lost the history, like they don't really know where they came from. And essentially, Lana, adventuring one day, her sister gets captured by this like android like robot creature in the first game, and through that she goes off and she trying to find her, and through that she discovers the hidden truths of their origin on this planet that isn't Earth. Um and you get to see kind of flashes of exactly what happened, but it doesn't answer everything in the first game. And in this game, people speak this made up language. Like it's not a real language that the game made up, but there's really no subtitles for it. You just kind of have to interpret what they're saying, right, through context and body language and stuff like that. Um, which makes the storytelling even better, in my opinion. But through that, you essentially find that, like I said, by the end of the first game you find, oh, this isn't Earth, this is a different planet that humans have come to, and they came here with like uh android sidekicks and stuff like that, but we really don't know what part the robots played in humans coming to this planet. And then we get more information in the second game, so I'm not going to spoil, obviously, because people haven't played it, about that. But I will say the ending definitely a cliffhanger. So there's definitely going to be a third Planet of Lana because it ended in such a crazy way. I was like, wait, what? Like the ending had me like, I was definitely jaw on the floor. I was like, oh shit, they're going to end it right there. Okay, interesting. So I look forward to Planet of Lana 3. I think this sequel lives up again to the first game. I think it does everything better. Platforming, the puzzle solving, the storytelling. It's a really beautiful game. It, like just like the first game, it takes place across like different biomes. There's like a frozen biome, there's like a city, there's a forest, there's a water. Like we're going actually underwater this time. So that's like a new um mechanic that we really didn't have in the first game. Like we're like legit going underwater and solving puzzles. And the underwater puzzle solving was probably some of my favorite. Um it added a really good depth to the game and made it fun. Trying to figure out stuff while you're trying to like, hold your breath and uh, work through the puzzles that's in the water. But yeah, it only took me about 4 hours to beat and get the plat, so it's not that long, but it was definitely worth it. Like I enjoyed my time with it. It was fun. And I look forward to the third one whenever that comes out. So yeah, I need y'all to work on that immediately because I need to know what's gonna happen next. But yeah, definite 9 out of 10. Awesome, awesome time. But yeah, that's all I've been playing.
Cool. Omar, how are you, sir? And what have you been playing?
Yeah, no. My mind has been with the war, but as for gaming, just heavy. I'm I'm close to the end, I think. Yeah, I'm either at the final chapter or one or two chapters beforehand, and it's just literally cleaning up because I encountered one boss that is rough. That's the what you call it. That's negative about playing bullet hell games. You can die a lot, so but yeah, no, Tevi, I recommend it highly. Afterwards, I might play Planet of Lana too, but that's about it for me.
Cool. Yeah, and as for myself, I'm still making my way through Xenoblade Chronicles 2. It is a very long game. If anybody has played any of the Xenoblade games, you know they can be incredibly long. So, um, yeah, that's been like my main go-to. Uh, Either having the Switch docked or portable or what have you. It's been a solid go-to for these past weeks or so that I've been playing. Um, so I've been enjoying that. I did order some new hardware at the very least in the meantime. So everybody's kind of seen it. It's been all over Twitter here and there. But I did order the Max 16 version of the AYN Thor, the Atomic Purple Edition. So I'm excited about that. Wanted to get in there before they raise the price tomorrow. In fact, it's not going up crazily, but they did say component prices were going up, so they were going to have to raise the price. Um, 10, 30, and $40 respectively, depending on the version you get. So still not super crazy, but I'm super excited about that. I've been playing quite a few titles via emulation lately, at least for the DS and 3DS. And the biggest factor for me with that was that when you use the enhance rendering on the actual emulator, you get such a big clarity bump in the games, and it honestly just looks like a brand new game. So I've been playing Pokemon Platinum right now on an emulation to the point where honestly, I think before while I'm waiting for my Thor, I have four 3DS XLs. Um, Two of the old ones and two of the new 3DS XLs. So I think on my old blue 3DS XL, I'm gonna mod that in order to also have that one be able to play some stuff. Because if anybody knows, you know, Nintendo shut down the store forever ago, which honestly was a big mistake. Honestly, I think they should have just kept it going for years or come with some way to do it on the back end or something, but they just didn't want to keep it going. So apparently the modding scene for the 3DS is crazy. Um, and you can download DLC, do a bunch of stuff. Like they basically got a whole store and everything just kind of set up if you want to mod them and play some of the stuff. And honestly, it's really great. And then my modded 3DS would be able to trade with me. So if I played Pokemon on my modded 3DS and then I also played on my AYN Thor, I could trade Pokemon to myself. So I could essentially play both versions uh, and do that. And then the AYN Thor is capable of running the ones that don't require two screens, like Fire Red and Leaf Green, that recently were brought out by Nintendo. You can trade to yourself on the same device. So yeah, really cool features and stuff picking up um, that new hardware. Um, Still running through Resident Evil 9. Um, Again, that looks insane on PC. Playing that via the path tracing and all that fun stuff. Um, but yeah, that's been pretty cool as well. I know a ton of people are enjoying that and finishing it up and working on their second playthroughs or platinums or what have you. Um, and then I know there was something else. Oh, I did try the other game that's the Zach guys right now that people are going crazy over, or the PC guys are trying to weaponize as like the Great White Hope because they're so upset still over this whole PlayStation pulling their PC ports. Um, but the um, what is it called? Now I'm struggling here.
My Resident Evil.
No,
No.
the card game or whatever. I don't know why I'm struggling with it
Blueprint?
right now.
Blueprint?
I-
No.
No.
Card game,
Oh,
my
Slay the
guy.
Spire 2. Oh, Slay the
Yes.
Spire 2.
Yes, Slay the Spire 2.
I mean,
You
I'm
know,
not surprised.
on God's green earth, unless I'm being waterboarded, I am not playing a puzzle game, sir. I
I'm
hate
legit
puzzle
not
games.
surprised with. I'm not surprised with this one because this is on the level of Binding of Isaac. This type of game always get attraction. So for the people to use them as a gotcha is just brain dead. Of course, this game is gonna be more popular than uh, live service shooter like Marathon or any other game
Well, I mean,
like
it
Sonic.
also gained massive popularity over time on the previous one, and it only cost $24.99 or $23.99, and then it's like 21 if you own the previous one. So again, I don't know why people are trying to play stupid, trying to compare basically a $20 game to any of these other games that are full price AAA
They
level
are
games.
they are hurt so badly with this whole PlayStation stopping with PC that they they literally are turning into Xbox people. They need validation.
Yeah,
They literally need
it's
validation to keep their
So-
sanity. That's where they are right
Sounds
now.
like a game that you need a $3,000 PC for, right?
right. But yeah, no. Yeah, I think that's mainly what I've been playing. I started Dragon Quest Seven Reimagined at some point a couple weeks ago, and I honestly just haven't been back to it. Um, there's so much to play that at the same time, like there's certain games that I wanted to play that got pushed back, which was like my big thing. Because basically this coming week I would have been playing Replaced, which was pretty much one of my most anticipated, if not most anticipated game of the year. Been waiting for Replaced forever, and it got
Is it
pushed.
out or just a demo?
No, I just said it got pushed to April.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So, um, that got
Oh
pushed
my
as well
God.
as Mouse PI for Hire, as well, and then
As well as Pragmata. They're all in the same week, bro.
yeah, and
Like,
No,
uh,
I
in
literally
think with
co-
back to back.
Pragmata, because
yeah,
Pragmata is a long game. I feel Retrace is gonna be a quick game, like 6 to 8 hours. As for what you call it, Max PI, I think it's 6 to 20 hours. I'm not sure.
well, not all of us have all day, Omar. So anyway, uh, then Inkonobini or whatever is also within the same time frame, um, which played the demo for that, and that was amazing. So that's going to be a nice game to relax on and run the store. If you guys haven't seen it, you should look it up. But yeah, it was a lot of fun running this kind of Japanese convenience store. The the ones that are famously before you go up like a big winding road or mountainous road and stuff like that. You get all your regular customers. It's just real relaxing, kind of cozy vibes. Um, but yeah, literally, like Morgan was saying, plus Pragmata was moved forward. So now, like, literally everything is in the same week in April, just all on top of each
I'm
other.
like, bro, why did you have to do that? Like, you realize other games are coming out. Like, I get it. We're done early. Yay. It's okay to just stay to your release date. It was only like a week. It was fine.
It was definitely
Why?
fine.
But
It's
whatever.
not like Capcom got to capitalize right now. I mean, they already winning.
Mm-mm-mm.
But at the very least, speaking of Capcom, shout out to them for apparently carrying my current gaming because they were the ones that didn't move. So they had, as far as this week, the one game that was coming out in March, which is Monster Hunter Stories 3, which will be out this coming Friday. So I'm definitely picking that up. Still debating, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to pick that up on PC as well. It does play really great. I'm playing the demo on PS5 Pro, but I think I'm going to pick it up on PC just so I could solidify maxing that out. Like I said, it does play really well. It looks amazing, even on the PS5 Pro, and it holds a much higher frame rate But I know I can max it out and just stay stuck at 165 FPS on PC. So I think I'll pick that up there. So like I said, that'll be next week. And then, like I said, before then, I'll definitely finish Resident Evil. And then, man, like Capcom again, like I said, in April with Pragmata. And then they're already teasing some more Onimusha. They released a new trailer from what I saw for Onimusha. So, yeah, Capcom is on fire right now, which is saying a lot because at one point they were just like the dudes that made Street Fighter and like Mega Man for me. So, yeah, for me to be purchasing that many Capcom games is kind of crazy. But yeah, like I said, they really been killing it. Curious to see what everybody else has been playing. Like I said, there's a lot to choose from. Shout out to everybody who joined us so far. Will, Hero, Ryan, Viper, Henry, and Seafresh so far. But yeah, I mean, it's just a wild time. You got to really plan accordingly, and people want to play everything, but you know, you just ain't got the time to play everything. Especially if you're trying to get through your backlog and all this other stuff. And if you play longer games the way that I typically do, is some of this stuff is going to take you forever. And then you're trying to 100% them and all the fun stuff. So, but yeah, with that, we're going to jump into our first topic. So, of course, we talked about this a little bit last week when it was a rumor, but we got a lot more information now. Jason Schreier commented further and now kind of released his article on Bloomberg. Basically confirming like that, he knows 100% that they've basically stopped cold porting any single of their single player tentpole titles to PC. And to that end, we also got some more information from Detective Seeds, I guess, reached out following that and stated, according to multiple people, 4 separate people familiar with PlayStation strategy change, Ghost of Yotei port was extremely far along with a target date release of PC in 2026. They were not surprised at the Sorrows cancellation, but all 4 believe Ghost of Yotei PC port would continue to be released based on how far along it was to bring in more players for Legends. It says it has been completely scrapped now, as always. He says, I am sure there is more nuance and other info, surrounding this cancellation, but that doesn't surprise me as well. Like, I mean, it just seems like something came down the wire. Somebody finally got wise to something, whether they got a new piece of information. Like, I don't know if PlayStation wasn't paying attention to the tens of millions of pirate, downloads of their games on some of these websites, but, they stopped cold. So something came down the wire, some sort of orders, somebody saw some data they definitely did not like. And like I said, to the end that, a lot of PC people have been crying all over Twitter. You guys have definitely seen it. It's been hilarious to me, honestly. But one of the big things that people have said, oh, well, how come they never tried day and date? This, that, and the third. Like, obviously we know why that is. People are just being a smart ass. But clearly stating that the game would only sell if it was day and date is a lie, right? Confirmed by actual data we have, right? The original releases that took the longest to get there are the ones that sold the most. So as that novelty kind of faded, of like, oh, a PlayStation game on PC, they just started selling less and less and just continued to be pirated, right? And then you have the published title from that wasn't first party, which was, of course, Stellar Blade, which still came, a little over a year later, and it sold just fine. It sold, 2 to 3 million plus copies on PC, no problem, and kept selling. So, but obviously we know that's a lie. It's got to be day one. But the thing is, like I told people long ago, the PC community has a very peculiar taste. And like I said, your whole, all PC players are not your audience, or, they're not your potential consumer. Like I said, for a number of reasons. Some of them only play one game. Some of them don't have the hardware, and some of them don't have the interest. Like there are, if you take all those factors and you cut down who actually has the interest at the very least, and then if they have the hardware, now you have to determine whether or not they'll actually purchase it. So the amount of available potential audience for PlayStation was actually pretty slim. Like I said, they were smart to keep going with the live service initiative because that type of stuff thrives on PC. Like I said, when you put something like Helldivers, yeah, that's gonna thrive everywhere, right? We picked that out pretty early on as one of the main successful live service initiatives, which is ironic because PlayStation apparently did not, to the point where even Arrowhead did not anticipate the game being as successful as it was. Um, but yeah, apparently PlayStation needs to hire us because we saw that literally the moment we saw the first trailer for Helldivers 2. But yeah, Morgan, after all the new information, hearing about it, seeing all the crash outs, legendary crash outs on social media and whatnot. How are you feeling in regards to this news? And does it look like PlayStation's on the right track based on some of these reactions?
I absolutely agree with this move that PlayStation is doing, and I hope it remains to be true. Um, the fact that Jason came out and said like the Ghost of Yotei PC port was scrapped, even though it was like supposedly almost done. It's kind of funny to me. I think that's kind of hilarious, to be honest. But you know what? Who wants to give it to the group that was calling it Woke-tay anyway? So it's like they were hating on it, doing all kinds of shit, like saying it wasn't going to sell, saying it was worse than Tsushima, even though PlayStation came out and said it's actually selling better than Tsushima. And dudes are still in denial about that. They say PlayStation's, lying to the shareholders for, whatever reason, right? Um, but I mean, we all knew it was going to happen if that game released on PC anyway, right? Like it was going to be mods galore, like inappropriate as mods, to be honest. So I'm happy because now you know what you said you claimed you didn't want the game, and that's kind of the mentality that I've been seeing from like a lot of PC players. Like, not not just recently, but like even before this rumor has come out, it was all like, PlayStation games are overrated. They're not that great. They're just sad dad games, and so I'm like, so why are we being upset about the fact that they're no longer going to be coming to PC? You should be happy. That's less quote unquote slot that you have to look at and go through, right? But we, like I said last week, we know the real reason is now that that bragging point is no longer there, and that's what it was really all about, right? Just saying, no longer, your box isn't valuable. My platform now plays your games, and so your console is just you know, worthless essentially. But as far as I find it funny too that they're also talking about PlayStation's revenue when they're the main ones who tell us that we shouldn't be worried about the company's revenue. We shouldn't worry about their profits. You're a consumer, so why do you care, right? But now that PlayStation is supposedly stopping single player ports, now we have to worry about the revenue. Oh my God, this is bad for PlayStation. What about all that money they're leaving on the table? What about that the $2 billion that PlayStation's not going to get from PC? Oh man, that's terrible. What about that? I'm like, oh, we care about that now. I thought as consumers we weren't supposed to care, right? Um, but at the end of the day, this is what's best for PlayStation's business. Okay,
Agreed.
regardless of what anybody else has to say about it, and it has nothing to do with console warring and saying that, oh, I got it and you don't. Like, sure, that's fun, right? And and the pony in me likes to bring that out, every once in a while, just for the laughs. But but being serious about it, like, we see the road that has happened with Xbox, and whether you like it or not, whether you feel like it was the right choice, we see what has happened to the console itself, right? The fact that we are now at a point where Xbox fans are begging the people that they've purchased the hardware from to please pay attention to them, right? Because they are no longer the sole or even the most important buyer demographic for the Xbox platform anymore, right? It's now PC, it's now PlayStation, it's now Switch. Everybody else is more important to the console. It's gotten so
Mm-hmm.
bad that the new CEO has to had like, I know we're going to talk about that later, but they've had to make it part of their, political statement that we are now refocusing on the console, and we're putting the console first and all that. You wouldn't be saying that if you were already doing it, right? If that was already a part of, the Xbox philosophy to put the console first, that wouldn't be a part of the speech, right? To bring it back, where you only bring
Yeah.
something back that has left, right? And again, I've been watching multiple Xbox podcasts. I've seen the tweets, right? Asking them, would you like exclusives back? Would you like exclusives? Right? It's gotten so bad. I've seen tweets that said, would you kill Game Pass if it meant you could have Xbox games exclusive again? And the majority of the votes, right? Thousands of votes said yes. They would strangle Game Pass, right? No longer have day ones in Game Pass just so they could have exclusives back. So again, we're not going to sit here and pretend like this is a PlayStation thing, that PlayStation players just want this and that. No. This is great for the industry, and this is good for PlayStation, because exclusives, again, because people keep asking, why is it that exclusives are so important? Why do you care that you can play it and no one else can play it? That's not why we care. That's why you think that we care. And that's not the reason, right? The reason is PlayStation's exclusives and Nintendo's exclusives, and hopefully I want Xbox to bring back exclusives. Take them, like, no longer put games on PlayStation, because the competition that exclusives create do nothing but help innovate and continue to bring competition to the gaming space, right? When back in the day, like during the Xbox 360 and PS3 days, right? And again, the 360 days are the days that people want back. But what they don't really want to tell you is that the 360 was dominating because of the third party exclusives that they had. Okay, like you can't tell me, like, nobody back in the day, the third party exclusives Xbox used to have over PlayStation were insane. It was like Mass Effect, all the shit that they had that you couldn't play on a
Knights of the Old
PS3,
Republic.
Xbox had. Yeah, exactly. They had all of this shit, and that's what made Xbox great. And that's what forced PlayStation to, because they were focusing all in, we want power, we want this, they were focusing on the hardware and not actually the games, right? And so because of the 360, because it was selling so well, because it was so popular, and this was even with the Red Ring, right? Motherfuckers, I had 2 Xbox 360s because of the Red Ring of Death. Like, I kept buying it because it was such a great platform with great games, right? That I couldn't play on my damn PS3. So I had a fucking 360, okay? And even with the Red Ring of Death, I was still buying it, and so were other people, right? Because of the exclusives. And because of the exclusives, it forced PlayStation to get off their ass and be like, all right, we can't be doing this. Like, we came from the PS2 era where we were winning it, right? The best-selling console of all time. And then we went to the PS3 thinking, oh, we were just gonna, ride the wave of that popularity and just not really do much, right? And so here comes the Xbox, right? It came out early, it came out cheaper, it had the exclusives. And then PlayStation had no choice but to put their shit in high gear, right? They started releasing that's when the Uncharted really started taking off. The Last of Us Part 1 came out right at the end, and then they carried that into the PS4, and they just started going back to back. Horizon, Spider-Man, Days Gone, God of War 2018. Like, it just kept going. And that's why competition matters. And now, because Xbox is not really putting much competition forth, PlayStation's just kind of chilling right now. Like, yes, they've still been releasing single player games. They've still been releasing, the AAA, single player games that we know. But because the Xbox hasn't really been much of a competition, and now they're putting their games on PlayStation, doesn't really feel that need, that drive to innovate the way they did, right? We've gotten a lot of sequels, but we really haven't gotten much in the way of new IP. Like, we've gotten Returnal, and we're gonna get
Intergalactic.
fucking Intergalactic, but that probably won't. It'll probably be like a cross-gen game with like PS6 from the way it's looking, right? I don't know if it's gonna make it by the end of the PS5 gen, is what I'm saying. So it's like, we're really not getting anything new and innovative from PlayStation. And I think that if Xbox had kept their games exclusive, right? If they didn't fold, if they hadn't decided to just start releasing their games on PlayStation and continued, well, also you have to add in the fact they actually have to release high quality games, because that's an important factor in that. You can't just release mid games and expect anything to change. But if they started actually putting out high quality games, high caliber game of the year style games that they kept away from PlayStation, this will force PlayStation to be like, all right, we've been fucking around with a lot of live service games and they've been failing, obviously, but we really need to start investing more in our single player games. Maybe invest more money in the current teams we have so that they have multiple teams so they can do multiple games at one time, or maybe invest into another studio that makes single player games, something to kind of kick into gear that they need to start producing more of the games that they're known for, the games that people buy a PlayStation for. And it's this lack of competition that's kind of been making this gen kind of just eh, as far as party output goes, right? So competition is good. PlayStation taking their games off of PC, good. They need to start putting more value back into the box, right? They need to start focusing more on the people who are investing in the ecosystem and less into the people who just kind of sprinkle in money every now and again, right? Please, like, you got to focus on the player base because that's what makes you strong. Focusing on the people who are actually spending money, right? Buying the console, buying the all the games, buying the subscriptions, right? Buying the accessories, right? They'll focusing on your core player base is what's going to make you grow. Because PC hasn't really done anything. Even Christian, I think his name is Chris Sterling. I can't remember the guy who does the stats for
Chris Dring? Chris?
like yeah, Chris String,
Yeah.
that's his name. Thank you. Even he was like the PC move didn't move the needle at all for PlayStation. Like it did nothing. It
Nope.
had no growth. It didn't do anything for them. So it's like, what is the point of putting things over there if it's not going to move the needle for you at all you're doing at the end of the day is just wasting money, right? I mean, I love the old regime. They put this into place and everything like that. But at the end of the day, I don't think it did what PlayStation wanted it to do, right? Which was bring PC players over to the PlayStation. I'm sure a couple did. Maybe a couple tried Ghost or a couple tried God of War 2018 and it was like, oh, okay, cool. I'll buy a PlayStation so I can play Ragnarok or Yote Day One. But this mass exodus, or maybe not an exodus, but this mass buying spree, adding a PlayStation to your daily routine for PC players was just not a thing that happened. And at the end of the day, this was an experiment, right? It was always to kind of gauge to see what PlayStation should do. And it's good to see that they're actually, looking at the facts, looking at the results, and being like, okay, well, this didn't work out. So we're just going to have to pull back on this because this is not what we wanted. Um, and I don't know, man. It's just I'm personally very, very happy about this because now all that money that they were using for PC can once again be reinvested where it should be, which is in the PlayStation first party catalog. Hopefully, this money goes towards, like I said, like what I would prefer PlayStation to do is start like expanding their internal studios, right? Um, so that they're a lot of the teams I know they're one game studios and they like to work that way. Maybe that's kind of the cadence that they've figured out that works for them. But I don't think there's anything wrong with like maybe putting another studio in a different location. Like there's a Sucker Punch studio in one location, then there's another Sucker Punch studio somewhere else. Same way that Insomniac has one in my state, and then another like I think like in California or something like that.
Mhm.
Like I think that's how Insomniac is able to put out multiple games a generation, right? They have multiple
Absolutely.
studios, multiple internal studios, and I think that's where PlayStation needs to start investing their money. Like put a couple Sucker Punches on the map, put a couple Gorillas on the map, put a couple Naughty Dogs on the map. Get these teams to be able to work on multiple projects so that you're not sitting around waiting for like one game a generation from each, right? um Invest in your internal studios because that's what you're known for. Those are the reason PlayStation has a legacy, right? It's these studios are carrying it on their back, and you need to be investing in them and not overworking them to the death to the point where they don't they're tired and they want to quit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like let's spread out some of this love out here so that we can have a healthy production and output of games from PlayStation. um yeah, I am very happy with this move. And again, it has to be something drastic if a port was like literally almost done, right? Because ports, they cost money, right? It's not something that's just like, oh, you press a button and now it does PC things, right? Um, so the
Yeah,
mere fact that it was
I'd
probably,
kill to know what finally was the nail in the coffin. Because, like I said, like
yeah, I'm
we've had
curious.
most of the data on our side and seen how bad, honestly, the ports have done for a long time. So,
Yeah,
like, what
yeah,
caused DEFCON 5?
yeah.
That day.
I don't. The moment that I saw that, like God of War 2018, then it was like what years ago. The PC port was essentially like it basically millions of people basically just pirated that shit. I
Hmm.
would, as PlayStation, I would have immediately put de novo on the rest of the games. Like I like personally, I'd have been
Oh
like, oh
yeah, I
no,
mean that's the bare minimum they should have done.
like you make single player games, so it's not like online is required. So people are gonna, they're gonna pirate shit.
And the funny
All right,
about thing is, it literally get cracked within a day, less than a day,
that's what I'm
literally.
saying.
Within about it just takes about 5 minutes.
Like the moment I saw that, if I was a PlayStation exec, I would have nipped that shit in the bud immediately. Immediately, I'd be like, oh no, we're not doing that. But PlayStation
Same.
was just like, yeah, it's fine. And they just kept releasing the games like that and wonder why the sales continue to diminish. Meanwhile, the pirating of said game keeps going up. Like it's just, yeah, I don't really know what was going on, but I know Denuvo in itself has like its issues, right? Like it's not just simple as putting it in the game. Like if you have a certain engine, it just kind of messes with things. So I can understand why they probably maybe didn't want to put it in games. But I know Stellar Blade had it.
Oh yeah, Stellar Blade
And it
definitely had
it
it.
sold very well. I'm just saying, Stellar Blade had the Nuvo on it. Couldn't pirate that game, and sold pretty damn good. Just saying, PlayStation. But yeah. At the end of the day, I think this is good because honestly, if Asha wants to, really win back Xbox players, after watching this rumor, after seeing it go in flames and seeing people's reaction to it, if she really wants to win people over, she needs to just be like, all right, this year's exclusives, we've already announced Fable for PlayStation, we've announced Forza and for PlayStation and Halo and stuff like that. Sure, okay, but like 2027, or like maybe just start that off with the next gen, the Project Helix or whatever. Make from this point on, everything's exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem, bro. And I promise you, you will win people back. Like you might see some people bitching and whining, but I guarantee you, the majority of the Xbox fan base, they'll pretend like they're upset about this, right? Because they want games everywhere and everyone should have them, but internally they're jumping up and down, doing jumping jacks, laughing, having fun, right? Because this is what they want. But regardless of the fan bases, right, what we need in this space, in the gaming space, is good competition. Because again, competition brings innovation. When publishers are competing for our dollars, that's when we win, right? They're over here making the best games they could possibly make because they're like, hey, look over here, come over here, spend your money over here. This is the platform you want to be in. The other platform was like, no, 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 no. Wait, we got this exclusive. Look at this game. This is amazing. You want to come over here? Come over here. And when platform holders are doing that, it can only be good for us, right? Because they're trying to differentiate themselves from the competition, and in order to do that, they have to make the best game possible, right? Because they're like, we're gonna make a game that you can't miss, right? That the game that's everybody's talking about, that's a part of the the zeitgeist, right? The game of the generation, the game of the year, right? And so we're producing that, so you have to come over here for our platform. And then somebody else, like again, PlayStation, like, no, 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 we got this game over here, right? And again, when they're competing for our dollars, that's when we win, right? When they're not competing for our dollars, that's when we get lazy ass shit. Okay, lazy games that are just kind of all right, it's good, but it's all right. It's not great, right? We need them fighting again, because when they fought, when it was 360, PS3, PS4, that's when we got some amazing fucking games out of them, bro. So I'm just like, why would you not want that back? Y'all keep saying y'all want the 360 back, but y'all want to knock out the most important element of the 360, which was when Xbox was actually fighting, when they were actually buying and timed exclusives and having these third party exclusives and making great first party games from they had the Halo 3s and the Gears 3s and everything like that. That's when that's the time y'all want, but y'all don't want like the mean, quote unquote, mean part about it. I was like, the mean part was what was making them win when they were fighting, when they were like, when they were actually pushing shit, right? And then I was like, I love petty PlayStation. I'll never forget when Shu was in the commercial and he was just like, this is the way you share on PlayStation. He was just passing the disc along. That's what you want. You want them to be fighting, because when they fight, that's when we get great innovative games, bro. Like
Absolutely.
you can't tell me that there was a time where there was like peacetime, when there was no console war, that we got fantastic games from these publishers. You can't. There's no way you can prove to me the other way. Like when they fought and when they got dirty, when they were doing tactics to try to get, to try to one up each other, that's when we got amazing exclusives from them. So I want that back. I would prefer Asha to come out during the GDC next week and tell us that, like, hey, it's going back to exclusive. Like, we're not putting shit on PlayStation anymore. Like, and again, I don't have an Xbox, so this doesn't help me as a PlayStation only consumer, right? This is not to the benefit of me. This is about the benefit of competition. I want PlayStation to stop sitting on the laurels. I want PlayStation to actually start competing again and actually start making great games. And the way to do that is to start gatekeeping. People get so mad at that word, like, oh, you're just being mean, you're just being a console war. But the gamers, not everybody can afford. Listen, gaming is a luxury at the end of the day. Okay, this is not food or water or housing. Okay, this is a hobby. All right, and I want the better. I want the best that I could get out of this hobby. All right, so gatekeeping is what's going to guarantee we get the best out of this hobby. When Nintendo locks stuff off, when PlayStation locks stuff off, when Xbox locks stuff off, they're going to be competing hard for our dollar, right? Because there's only so much money to go around. Okay, so they have to present the best to us, right? They have to be standing outside there waving their little flyers at us, like, no, come in this store, no, come in this store, no, come over here. That's when we get the best out of them. So yes, I'm happy about this. Xbox, please follow suit, do the same, lock your shit up. Nintendo, keep doing, you're doing your thing, keep doing what you do. But yeah, I think this is great. Again, PC players only care because I'll say this: console players, please stop listening to PC players. They do not care about the health of the brand. They don't. They don't care about the health of an Xbox. They don't care about the health of PlayStation. They don't care about the health of Nintendo. They just want all the games on their platform, and they will say whatever they got to say to get those games to come on the platform. You like, they try to come through as your friend, like, wait, no, this is great for everybody if it's all over here. I'm like, but you're not worried about it being on other platforms. You're just worrying about it being on PC. So
Yep.
like,
Yep.
don't like, I hate this whole fuddy duddy, like they're the pro consumer and they care about everybody. No, they don't. They just want the games on their preferred platform. Their preferred platform is PC. So they'll say whatever. That's why they're rah-rahing with Xbox fans and being like, yeah, this is great. Yeah, because their games are already over there, right?
Oh
And then when
yeah, PC
PlayStation,
players were the Xbox whisperers at one point.
yeah,
Hey
they
man,
were
just
back
tell
there.
them PlayStation dudes that they don't know what they talking about and they need to follow Xbox. Make sure you tell them that,
Exactly.
bro. Yeah, that's what we want. Everything on
Exactly.
PC, bro. Everything on PC. Let them know.
Exactly. It's like they were back there like fucking Emperor Palpatine or Darth Vader with Xbox. He was like, yes, love, yes, bring those games over here. Isn't it great that they're on PC? They're just back there whispering in their ear or rubbing their shoulders, like, yes, this is fantastic. And that's exactly what they wanted with PlayStation, right? Which is why they kept championing the PlayStation, as far as like them putting the games on PC, and they kept asking day and date, because they just wanted it over there. And then if PlayStation fell and conceded to day and date, they would have started going at Nintendo, right? Because then it's okay. Now we need Nintendo. Nintendo, you got to do it too. Put this. You know how much better it would sell if it was on PC. It's like that is just what they want. They don't care if the Xbox no longer is a thing. The console is no longer a thing. They don't care if the PlayStation console is no longer a thing. If we don't get a PS6 or a PS7, they don't give a shit, right? They don't care if the Switch 3 comes out. They don't. They just want everything on their platform. So stop listening to them, okay? Because they don't care about the health of the brand, which is why they're upset about this. and trying to frame it as this is bad for PlayStation and this is going to lead to lower revenues and blah blah blah. No, it's not.
Yeah, they're
No,
like,
it's
oh,
not.
they're
It's
already
not.
closing studios, so they're gonna close more, guys, because you guys need us. And I'm like, no, we in fact don't need you. You're actually just
They
costing
were
us
doing
money.
just fine before PC was there, or
Yeah,
before PC was even a factor in PlayStation's revenue, and they'll be perfectly fine without it, bruh. They just need to
absolutely.
double down on what they're good at. Like I said, they need to start investing in their own internal studios, bolster these up, support them, give them the support and the time and the resources that they need to start pumping out games, and I think it'll be fine. I don't really know why PlayStation isn't doing that, because I would have expanded all these studios. I would have had like I said, 3 sucker punches in different locations, especially with the prices of development. I'd put it in states that don't cost as much, you
Yeah,
know,
I agree.
take them out of California, put them somewhere like, like how Ben has a studio like in Oregon and stuff. And Insomniac has a studio over here, like 20 minutes from my house. Like I'd start putting it in places that are cheaper, right? And out of LA so that we can kind
Yeah,
of
I agree.
avoid the high cost of development.
It's become like less of an issue because like before the problem people were saying was like, well, it was consolidated, like the talent.
Mhm.
Well, the talent is all over the place now, and
Yeah,
like Rob has stated, he specifically chose the studio he did because they would allow him to work remotely, and most of the studios will allow some form of that to this point. So if you really
exactly.
needed somebody onboarded, you can literally get them from anywhere, or these people would be happy to live in some
Yep.
of these other states where the
I think
cost of
that's
living
kind of
wasn't
part of
insane.
the exactly. It's part of the lesson, at least one of the positives that, if you could say that, that came out of COVID. People realized that you could do a lot of this stuff from, remotely, work from home. And
Hmm.
like you say, you really don't need, like, I'm sure there's obviously going to be some need for people to come into the studio to do certain things, but you can get a lot of the busy work and stuff done by doing, stuff remotely.
Absolutely.
You can obviously still have a core studio that you have where people come in, but you can have a lot of work that's done outside of that. And I think putting, like I said, studios in places that are outside of California and Texas, where the price of, the cost of living and the price of development is so high, would do nothing but benefit PlayStation and other studios, right? So I just think what PlayStation needs to do is take the money that they were going to be using for PC, reinvest that in their internal studios, give them the support, and stop leaning so much on the temporary workers, right? Where they like hire like a bunch of, you know, temp devs to come in, do a game, and then they end up like axing everybody because they don't need them anymore. Like
Yeah.
stop relying so much on that temporary help and start investing in actual permanent workers who you can start start from the bottom, and then they can promote from within. They can become a part of the studio and its legacy, and because that is the type of healthy work environment that leads to great games. I was watching the earlier this week, in fact, I was watching like this little small um 20-30 minute like behind the scenes bio on Insomniac, and like kind of their come up, the way they work and everything like that, and like it ended at the release of Spider-Man 2018. And it was just talking about how their work ethic and the way they're able to just pump out games is because like they have a strong internal core, and they don't rely too much on outside help, and they they've had people with them at the studio for years. Somebody started from the bottom and worked from the top. Like the person who ended up being the creative director of Spider-Man 2018 was just like, he was a like the internal like journalist. Like he wasn't even like main development team. He just
Yeah.
came up to the uh the head of Insomniac, was like, I want to be the creative director of this. And the guy at first, he was like, I don't know, but he was just like, his determination and his like conviction of wanting to direct Spider-Man 2018. He was just like, yeah, you know what, you seem really like you really want to do this. I'll let you do it. And then we end up getting a fantastic fucking game because they focus on the people that they have, and they promote from within, and they cultivate a culture where people want to work there and stay there and continue to grow there. And that's kind of what I think the blueprint for every other PlayStation studio needs to be, right? You need it to be where people not only want to work there but want to stay there, right? Because that's the type of that's the type of working mindset that does nothing but like grow and make amazing new innovative game, because somebody who's been there for years knows how the team works, knows what's best, knows what people like and dislike, and what will be good for the continued growth of the studio. So that's what I think PlayStation needs to be focusing on. Focus on what you got, right? I don't really think you really need to be buying up more studios and shit like that right now. Just focus on within, repairing what's within, and expanding what's within. But yeah, that's just kind of my thought process. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I agree with a lot of that, and uh, clearly so does the chat. Um, but yeah, uh, Weeb, how are you feeling about this move from PlayStation? Removing their single player titles, and feeling about the health of the PlayStation brand going forward.
Yeah, just as I said last week, it's a sort of endless entertainment, but also, yeah, it is the right move. I mean, I think everybody here, but like in pretty much every podcast, or at least the PlayStation podcast, I've been saying that this is a bad move. Like we know, we had the explanation of Sean Layden that. Um, yeah, it was to get the PC gamers to come to PlayStation by bringing the games to PC. Um, we know that didn't work, and it didn't seem to be that was the main reason why they kept doing that. They probably thought, oh yeah, we can just make some extra money because we're still doing good in the PlayStation sales, so it's not hurting us, and their initial games, were doing very well, but yeah, when once novelty wore off, you saw that a lot of these games were not really making a dent in terms of sales on PC with respect to the overall sales of those games. Um, yeah, as mentioned, porting games cost money, so if they're not making a lot of money, yeah, you're literally throwing away money, and but sure, part of the blame is also to PlayStation because some ports were not very optimized or had a lot of issues. I think that didn't help because that sort of created also backlash and the other things like when they try to made you sign to play to a PlayStation PlayStation account, SE account to access certain games. Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's kind of what you're gonna get. Then a lot of people are gonna pirate your games, or they're just gonna pirate it anyway, regardless of whether you do it well or not. So yeah, it does seem like the well, I think the initial experiment failed, but also their idea to just make a quick buck, with their first party games. I mean, look, I think a lot of people have said that, and have also defended it. Say, yeah, it's not going to hurt them. It's going to make extra money. They're going to reinvest that money, But yeah, now it seems like the honeymoon is over. It's not no longer um, they're no longer as positive or optimistic about this. And yes, there is a certain risk. I mean, PC, or let's say they're always saying like, oh, it was only a matter of time for PlayStation doing day and date. Um, and that's maybe that also was something like, yeah, but we see what happened with Xbox, when they went day and date. That was sort of the nail in the coffin for them. That was the beginning of the end. And yeah, they probably realized that there was a risk that they might have gone there, or there was a risk that people were expecting that to happen. And with the PS6 coming up, with also the PS5 generation extending, with the fact that there were so many people still stuck in PS4, uh, I think they really are doubling down. Okay, we need to make sure that we have a platform that has unique selling points. And yeah, it doesn't help that Steam is also, or Valve is also entering sort of the console space with their Steam box, which yes, they're saying it's a PC, but very obviously they're trying to sort of give it the appeal of a console, and it certainly has hurt that has helped, I think, with perception of some, at least anecdotally. Well, I've heard some people saying that they might be interested in it. Um, and yeah, the Xbox with their strategy of or everything is an Xbox, and their next console is going to be a PC hybrid, and you're going to be able to play Steam on it, which also means that you're going to be able to play PlayStation games on it. And I think that concerned Sony, where like, okay, so because that's kind of the problem is uh, when your entire marketing campaign is based on trying to sort of confuse people, sort of uh, yeah, make it yeah, change the definitions, or at least muddy the waters. Like, what's a console? What's a PC? Right? If everything is an Xbox, then they were trying. It seemed very hard, or they're still very hard trying to sell you on. Okay, they're gonna uh, release a PC something, and but they're gonna tell you it's an Xbox, and people are gonna there will probably plenty of people, at least the fanboys, are definitely going to swallow that, but or champion that. But there will also be a lot of people who are not initiated, who don't follow the news like we do, that will be confused by that and will maybe think, oh, this actually is a console. This is the next Xbox, and hey, I can play PlayStation games on it. So why should I buy a PlayStation? Because I can buy the next Xbox and play everything. And that's even though that's not true, because it's not going to be a true console, and probably going to have I mean, it's I think another topic, going to have a premium price, but whatever. But certainly related, I think that's definitely, at least I think that played a part in why they changed the strategy. And it's all of the above, right? There's so many reasons you can think of why they change their tune, but I think it's all come together, and maybe also the way the PC market is, like with the increase in prices. Um, I mean, PC gaming has become more expensive due to the RAM apocalypse and all that jazz. That's what more would say. Um, but yeah, that's I think that factors in too, because then you're also in a unique position to yeah, sell your console, but also makes it less attractive to just release your games on PC.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, I'm not saying that that's gonna. I mean, obviously, I mean, the prices are gonna some point drop again, so it's not gonna be forever. But is certainly a unique opportunity, as well as I fear for Xbox, because I fear. I mean, I think they're gonna use that because yeah, if PC gaming overall is gonna be more expensive, then releasing a hybrid, that has sort of the yeah, that's going to be sold at least it's probably not going to be cheap, but certainly not going to be as expensive as a when you try to build your own PC. Yeah, they could probably use that as a way to nudge themselves in something that they had a hand in creating, because they're heavily invested in OpenAI, which turn is the cause of the RAM apocalypse. So yeah, that's very it's an interesting time, and I think in the end, yeah, I do agree with everything that Morgan said as well. With that exclusives are part of your brand identity. It's so weird that we've gotten used to, or people have been championing like, oh, exclusives don't matter. Well, unless unless they're being excluded from PlayStation. I don't even think with PC gamers, they don't even care that Nintendo has their games exclusive. It's definitely because they're never really crying about Nintendo having exclusive games. They're always using excuses for that. Oh, but yeah, it's a handheld. It's Nintendo. Yeah, so it's fine. It's fine if Nintendo does it. It's always PlayStation is not allowed to have exclusives, which is always just this sort of schizophrenic relationship they have with PlayStation, that they hate PlayStation, and they say that they don't like the games, but they also don't want those games to be exclusive. It's so weird, like this sort of double speak, the speaking tongues of these people, where they're like, they can never really keep their stories straight. They're always moving the goalposts, always yeah, it's such a weird logic. It's their alternative facts, whatever you want to call them. They keep on switching the narrative as they see fit. And I mean, like literally in like the same week where they're saying, "Oh yeah, Xbox should have exclusives," and then Sony dropped this bombshell. No, it's a bad move, like taking away games from people from other platforms. Like, it's such like it. I mean, it's so transparent that what they really want and what that they don't care. They don't care about being pro consumer or that we all win if games are everywhere. No, no, I think it has been demonstrated that we don't all win because then there's less need to compete if you put everything on everywhere. You don't. It has been said like numerous times, like in the past, even by actually, insiders, by people who've worked there, said like, yeah, if the, I mean, I think even Sean Lane in the score, like, if these games were not exclusive, then yeah, nobody would be willing to make the investment in these games.
Mm-hmm.
And if they were just multi-platform games, like yeah, then you would be trying to monetize those games. Trying to put in microtransactions, trying to minimize cost and maximize revenue. Then everything would be a service game. I mean, it's a bit. Um, Hyperbolic. Like, of course, it's not. There's always going to be a market for single player games, as there is for multiplayer games and games as a service, whatever. But it is, something that's not conducive to getting these kind of games. Uh, if the only concern was, okay, you need to make as much money as possible, maximize revenue, and yes, of course, these games need to make money. Of course, these games need to turn a profit or to make sure that they're yeah, it's worth investing in that studio or in that franchise to yeah, for us to get more titles and more entries into that franchise. But in the end, like, yeah, it's not the sole driver if those games are exclusive to a platform. It's to sell you on that platform, make a great game, which is very ironic considering that the former Xbox CEO Phil Spencer has famously said, like, yeah, if we make great games, doesn't mean that things will change, that people will buy an Xbox. Yeah, such a incredible, callous and stupid remark that I can't even believe he said that. I mean, I can't believe he said that because that's exactly the mentality they had. But it's such a cop out answer. Like, no, that's exactly what you need to do. You need to make great games, and you need to make those games for your platform, and not just sell them everywhere because then people will indeed just play them, on their preferred platform. If you make great games, people will come to your platform. I mean, if Xbox, yeah, I don't know what hell they're gonna do, but if they suddenly decide to, okay, we're gonna make our games exclusives again, we're gonna drop an actual console next generation. Sure, I'll and if they make great games, then yeah, I will find you, But right now, there is no reason to get an Xbox because everything is also releasing on PlayStation, and the release windows are getting closer and closer to the point that yeah, they're gonna get day and date all of them, yeah. So and see what that got them. So definitely think the PlayStation made the right move. Again, it's officially still rumor, so should at least put in the sort of the small print that we don't have an official confirmation, but like we said last week, probably never really gonna get one because it's not something you really gonna announce. That's
Yeah,
sort
they
of
don't
like
really announce it.
you're just gonna show or keep people guessing. I don't know, but in the end, like yeah, I think it's pretty much something like that. Like if it's like a release date of a console or something, yeah, they could it could be wrong and you could doubt that, but something like that, I think you can be pretty sure that it's true. It's gonna happen, and I mean you're gonna see it. It's not like you're um, have to wait long to see whether or not they make good on that. Well, rumor, promise, whatever we call it. And yeah, it is very interesting indeed that if indeed true that they had a Ghost of Yotei development, a port in development, and they just canceled that. And like you said, that I would love to, yeah, be a fly in the wall there. Like, would love to know what happened there, what made them make that decision to cancel it. Because yeah, indeed, does cost money to port a game, so they probably spent a lot of money on it already,
Mm-hmm.
and they suddenly just decide to change directions and yeah, getting back to what they're yeah, what they were known for. And yes, I think in the end it is a positive development because it also, at least I think in the minds of PlayStation or Sony, it does show that they're still need to compete, right? That they have
Mm-hmm.
competition from Nintendo, maybe uh, from Valve with their Steam box, maybe still Xbox with their next Xbox, whatever it's going to be called. And yeah, I mean, maybe the Switch 2 is also an interesting reason or motivator for them because they used to have, the Switch 1. Yeah, generally just relied on their first party games, right? They didn't have that much third party support. They had third party games, but like, the big, third party franchises, they generally were vacant from that platform because the hardware wasn't there. And there seems to be yeah, a change in that strategy with seeing way more of these third-party games coming to the Switch too. Whatever, whatever state they're playable. I mean, Nintendo Switch 2 only owners will still play them, right? And that might also be a reason why exclusives, their first-party games, or whatever, whatever way whether it's a second-party game, I guess it counts to, um, yeah, that those are important. They I think, and even more important now because you can't even use the argument. Yeah, we have third party games, and like when Xbox yeah, wasn't competing, or maybe still isn't competing. Like, yeah, you didn't really need to try because you had all, like, you were getting their games, so you were the only platform that had all the games. But yeah, now that Nintendo is getting also most of the third party games, yeah, that changes things. And I think that also factors in where, like, okay, yeah, we need to double down on our exclusives because we need to cherish them. We need to hold on to them because they are, uh, yeah, key in what makes our yeah, platform unique. And we need to make sure that we keep that brand identity. I think that's maybe the most important lesson. Like, I think that we can learn from Xbox that lost their brand identity by throwing everything away and making yeah, making their yeah, even obtuse what actually is an Xbox. Like, it's, if something is everything, then it's basically nothing. And I think that's a lesson that maybe now has sunk into to Sony, to PlayStation, to Herman, or whatever, whoever made the decision, that they need to yeah, pivot and get back to basics, get back to what made them great, before it's too late. And I'm glad that they realized that sooner than later. So yeah, I'm yeah, I'm quite content with the decision they made, even though, like I said, they didn't officially confirm it.
Cool. No, I agree. Um, yeah, like a lot of people were saying. I mean, it's just PlayStation was just kind of doing too much for too little to me, um, and it was ultimately affecting their brand. I think if they're paying attention, if they learned anything this week, like I said, the people sharing that they ran out to buy a PS5, but mainly PS5 Pros, should tell them that's, even if this
Yeah.
wasn't the play, that this should be the play. Because look at social media, look at the exposure, look at how people are celebrating going out and buying the PlayStation in a renewed effort because of just the report. Not even like you said an official acknowledgement, but just because of the port. Like honestly, if I know they normally don't say anything, but I would solidify it, directly at some point, just to put that full confirmation, because just like you said, the report alone has gotten people to just jump on board in so many ways, and I've seen tweets from several people, um, from all over the world, stating, hey, I saw the commitment back to PlayStation. I saw the increase in PSSR 2.0. Went and bought myself a Pro. Good to go. I'm ready. And even people, like I said, it even had an effect on people picking up the Slim. I see I need a PlayStation going forward to make sure I can secure myself a spot to play these titles. Boom, good to go. Again, that is what PlayStation, like you said, needs to maintain that brand identity, and then they need to refocus. As Morgan was saying earlier, refocus and expand on these teams and make sure that your core teams are putting out at least a minimum of 2 games a generation. Um, there's been too many slip ups. Like I said, you got lucky that the other team slipped up even worse, right? And you're getting some of their titles. So a lot of things are helping them make up for it. Shu put a lot of things in place before he left with the China Hero Project, with partnering with Stellar Blade and all these other things. So a lot of things are kind of mitigating these first party mistakes, but they got to tighten up. Like you got to get back to it. You got to make sure these companies are releasing. Stop wasting time in development, especially with the studio like Naughty Dog. I completely understand the frustration from some people that was their primary studio. Like you say, you're talking about a company that used to put out minimum two of the best titles that PlayStation has ever had between Uncharted and The Last of Us. So to expect them to basically come in on the end here, and maybe just make it before the next generation is kind of crazy. So again, like I said, they don't get no slack here. Um, Regardless, like I said, this is a good move. Make sure you stick to this move. Um, like I said, I would confirm it just because honestly, it's had a really positive effect for them, and they should definitely be highly aware of that. Um, so yeah, I would just lock it in and make sure people know.
Yeah, they'll probably confirm in some interview with one of these outlets.
Yeah, I figured it would either come up there or it's going to come up in the fireside chat when they inevitably have to do their public, uh, talking to their investors, basically the investors meeting where they had like the fireside chat and stuff, and they talk about the goals for the company and things of that nature. So I figured it's at least minimum going to come out there. Um, Now, Omar, I know this should be a big one for you because you always hated the PC initiative, and thought it was a waste of time. And it looks like you were right, right? Um, you never wavered on that. You were like, I still hate it, no matter what. So
To be fair, this was all of our mentality, so I'm not just the only one.
yeah, no, but
And
like
people,
you were very very vocal about it, is what I mean.
yeah,
Yeah,
I think to me it's like I'll never forget. I debated so many people, TikToker, BitCloud Gaming, you name it. I literally thought the writing on the wall that how what PlayStation literally copying Xbox with a lot of stuff. So I'm like, okay, it's gonna be only a matter of time before they put the game on PC. And people laughed at me. People like, why would the what do we call it, the company that's winning follow the loser? I'm like, literally, clearly money. They wanted that extra revenue, and look what got them. Like it between that and what you call it, the life service push. I have zero idea which one is worse. I would debate the life service push because look what happened to Naughty Dog. Look what happened to to Blue Point. Look what happened to. I'm pretty sure Bend Studio is gonna be next. I would absolutely not be surprised if they closed down Bend Studio because Bend was working on what, two live service games that got cancelled, including working on I think Faction 2. So it's it's crazy. And again, this have zero to do with console war. This is not brand loyalty or whatsoever. This is literally focusing on companies just don't know. And this is not in gaming, this is in everything. Companies truly believe they are the better one. They can be better than the competition, while literally your competition is dead. Like Xbox don't exist no more in the sense of they are literally now PC, which is why literally their next hardware is console and PC. I think this is one of the reasons PlayStation saw the writing on the wall and wiped the fuck up. And the second one is between the modding of their games, but also their what you call it, the download of their games. Like I can't be the only one that would have seen this one coming. Like I'm pretty sure a lot of their investors, a lot of their shareholders would have seen this one coming. It makes me question what took them so long to realize this. And I would legit but not be surprised if it was either this or going day and date. Because what they were doing was not working. And I am happy to see that we finally stood a company that is learning from their own fuck up, from their what you call it, competition fuck up. As for so if I'm I want to say something about an investor where is looking at what PlayStation is doing, but more importantly, what people are talking about PlayStation, because we know investors listen and pay attention. Like, look at that one investor that talked to Square Enix, like either investor or shareholder, one of the two. He is like, why don't you go back to basic turn based? I've seen a lot of people praise Activision 3 and other turn-based games. Like, what happened to Final Fantasy? I wanted to go back to turn-based. So, if I'm a PlayStation investor and looking at this, I'm legit gonna ask PlayStation, like, why are you guys following the competition that is clearly seen they're not doing well? Why are you deliberately killing your own company? Because it at some point you gotta ask yourself, uh, when is it enough for, for PlayStation to stop what they're doing with their live service and wake the fuck up? If they didn't start this live service push, Bluepoint would have been saved. Um, Naughty Dog, a studio that was so beloved, that was put on such high pedestal for a good reason. I'm not gonna front that. To go from what they were to where they are right now, that they are literally going to put one game, which is I'm not counting any remake and remaster whatsoever. I'm strictly talking new IP. They're literally creating just one game. Like I like that's one of their biggest failure. And I truly hope their life service is gonna be the next wake up. Cause I have didn't play marathon, but from what I've seen, it doesn't seem like Marathon is breaking numbers. And again, I will never trust that mention Morgan. You mentioned that. How out of touch of reality are you to not realize you had a hit on your hand with Helldivers 2? Like, how can people not see it? This was clearly ahead from the second we saw it. We were like, yeah, no, this is gonna be phenomenal, and it is. So I'm just fascinated at the end because at first I thought PlayStation is the golden star. They can do no wrong. But the more you realize, the more like, no, PlayStation is a company is gonna fuck up like other company. It's just they have so much goodwill that they can afford to fuck up. But at some point, when it's too much fuck up, this generation alone, we lost uh, Japan Studio, which I know the whole story about that. Blue Point. Um, I'm pretty sure Fair Game's gonna do trash, and that studio is gonna close. And I know one of them said that the money for what you call it, the live service push didn't come from the single player division. But I'm like, this money could have easily been spent. Morgan said it, but I need to emphasize it on upgrading your own studio. In Santa Monica, create 10 Santa Monicas. I know I'm being hyperbolic and like unrealistic, but you like Santa Monica has been literally their what you call it, like their savior. Heart Marquee literally putting two games, first generation and now next generation. Like shout out to Heartmark. And not Santa Monica, I meant to say Insomniac. Um, but to me, it's like at some point, PlayStation wakes the fuck up, and they clearly did. And just one last thing, because I love how people trying to dog on PlayStation for putting that trailer for that uh, DualSense on PC. I'm like, you guys, you do realize this is strictly single player games, right? Like people can read, right? I know they want to try this gotcha, but like if you want to have a gotcha, make it a legit gotcha. Don't look stupid. Like, if you don't know, okay, well, fair. But for the amount of people that really think that this is a gotcha moment, I'm like, you guys, literally single player games, multiplayer games still on PC. What do you need a, a controller for? You play a multiplayer game on PC. It's laughable. But as for PlayStation waking up, if I'm the investor, I'm gonna absolutely, especially with investor and what you call it, shareholder, I'm absolutely gonna ask PlayStation, yo, is this true? Make some announcement. So I don't think PlayStation can be silent about this. At some point, they need to make an announcement, either debunk it or not debunk it. And I saw a tweet that apparently PlayStation always debunk Bloomberg lies. They haven't debunked this one with the PC thing, so we will see if it's true or not. I do believe it's true. It just makes you question just who is the one pulling the string. Cause rumor have it, Yote was far into the development. So to stop a far into development, Yote is crazy. It's legit crazy to do that. Um, I am going to see, wait and see if they do a public, what you call it, uh, information to let you know. But yeah, that's about it for me.
All right, cool. Uh, yeah, I don't know. We'll ultimately see what happens. But yeah, right
Yeah.
now, I think depending on whatever was going on, I think the reception to the news is something that PlayStation should definitely be paying attention to because it's the exact thing is happening that they should want to be happening, and that is people are going out in droves and either upgrading
Oh yeah, and
or
I
buying
have
more PlayStations.
I have seen so many people like I'm I know Twitter is uh, an echo chamber, but I've seen so many people buy PS5 Pro that it's not even funny. In 1 week only, I see more than 10.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
pretty sure it's
I've seen.
I'm pretty sure, but that's what you call that's what rumor does to you. If people are gonna be locked out, yeah, I'm gonna absolutely buy a play to PS5 Pro.
Yeah, I mean, I think being reported by several people who typically tend to be right doesn't hurt. So I
Yeah,
think a lot of people are kind of inclined to understand that something is definitely changing, which, like I said, is working out for them. Um, but yeah, we'll jump to our next topic here, something that's a little bit shorter to cover. Um, I'm not even sure most people even realize it happened. I actually forgot that it had happened, but we had the Nintendo Indie Showcase um, that happened on three. I think it was 3/3. Um, Again, it was indie focus, so they were catching up on some titles, announcing some titles were coming. Things like the Midnight Walk, which are coming to obviously other platforms, and then they had some titles release like a demo, which was Dench Attack, that game where it's like doing skateboard tricks, but you're like a train. So that game looks really insane. They had quite a few
think
things.
you're a buzz, but okay.
It's a train.
Oh, train, okay. Yeah,
Yes,
this one is. I'm
it's a
excited
subway
for
train
it.
specifically. But yeah, the recent trailer shows them changing to different trains. So yeah, it's a train. Um, and then like I said, they announced quite a few other things. Really, just kind of a catch up for them to show either exclusive titles coming to them or showing other indie titles that are going elsewhere, like mixtape that they'll also be getting. Like I said, it was pretty short, kind of to the point. Like I said, nothing really a major surprise for me. Um, Dead Zone Rogue was seemed interesting though, funny enough. But again, none of these titles that they showed would be anything that I would be picking up on the Switch. Most of these would be something I'd pick up either on PC or PS5 Pro. Um, but yeah, probably uh, Densha uh, Dench Attack is probably the main thing that I saw. And Moonlighter 2 looked pretty good. I've been eyeing that for a while, so uh, and then like I said, that Dead Zone Rogue looked pretty interesting. They also announced Blueprints as well coming. Obviously that game came to critical, ridiculous praise last year. So, you know, again, Nintendo switched to playing catch up and also announcing some of these new titles. But yeah, that's pretty much all I really found interesting for me. I'm not even going to score it. It was just kind of whatever. It could have been a blog post, and that would
It's
have
a
been
tweet out
fine.
of 10. That's what it is.
Um, but yeah, that's just me. Weeb, what'd you think of the Indie World Showcase, sir?
Yeah, uh, I also don't really have any strong opinion about it. The only game that I'm interested in from that showcase is, or if you can call it that, is Tome 2, because I loved the first game. That's my gonna be my relax game, where you just take pictures and try to solve puzzles with pictures. Um, yeah, that's the only thing. I was like in sort of sizzle reel at the end. There wasn't even really yeah a lot of screen time, but that's the only game I'm interested. The rest, yeah, could have been email. Yeah.
Okay, cool, understandable. Morgan, did you see anything that piqued your interest, ma'am, from the Nintendo Indie Showcase?
Um, no, well, one, I didn't watch it live, so I just kind of caught up with it earlier before the show. Um, but as far as what looked good, I mean, yeah, I'm with the sentiment of everybody. Like, it could have just definitely been a blog post. Um, the only really new game that I saw that looked pretty interesting for me was My Little Puppy, but I have no idea if that's coming to other platforms besides Switch. So, because I think it was previously on PC, but I think it's just coming to Switch right now, which is fine. But I'm not gonna buy a Switch over it, so it's whatever. But as far as the rest of the games, I mean, it did highlight some dates for games that I've been, looking forward to. Mixtape has been on my wish list for a while. Ever since I saw it, I was like, yes, I want to play that. And that's coming out May 7th. Uh, Funny enough, my brother's birthday, so that'll be day one for me. I've been looking forward to that one. Also, Grave Seasons. I don't think they gave a release date for that one, but that has been on my wish list, and that is coming to PlayStation. So I think they just said like summer, for this year, which is fine. But I needed a release date immediately. And of course, Inkobini got its release date for April 30th. Another game that I've definitely been looking forward to. That's also a day one. So I mean, it was good enough to give me some release dates for some games I've been looking forward to. So that's cool. But other than that, yeah, I'm not really gonna grade the direct. I mean, it was a, you know, what they call it there, their indie world direct. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I knew what to expect out of it. Usually, when Nintendo does like an indie world, it's usually indies that have been other places or like they've released on other platforms that are just now coming to Switch. So it's kind of just like, here's the stuff that everybody else has gotten and it's coming to Switch too. So that's kind of how I go into it when I see those indie worlds from Switch. It's usually stuff we've all already seen, just getting like its Switch version. So I'm not really upset at it. It's whatever.
Okay, cool. Omar.
But yeah, that's all I have to say.
So, Sweep, what about you? Did you enjoy this phenomenal showcase?
We've already talked, sir.
I
You
literally
already
just
did?
said Omar.
Oh yeah. He mentioned
Oh my god.
that camera game.
What?
No, my bad.
Oh
I
my
remember.
Am I a
I
good
call.
game, sir?
I remember that on me.
Oh,
Okay, as
for
for
anybody
me,
who's
We know you
confused,
don't pay
Omar
attention.
was on another planet.
no, I did, which
But you
I
already gave
said.
your opinion.
I remember. I forgot that he mentioned that camera game, which I dropped. As for me, oh, dude, one, it could have been a blog post, yeah. I'm super excited about uh the train game because I love unique, wacky games like that. And another one I'm super excited for is from the developers behind Guacamole. It's basically a Metrovania where you play as two luchadors, basically two
Guacamole.
Mexican wrestlers. You can turn into a chicken. You can turn into something. It it's a lot of fun. So their new game called Blighted. Um, it felt like a roguelike instead of a Metrovania. So I'm gonna wait and see. And also apparently it have co-op. So it also felt hack and slash, not hack and slash, a little bit action. I'm excited about that one. Other than that, yeah, no. Lots of running games. I know Nintendo is playing catch up, have a lot of catch up to do because of the Switch 2, but yeah, no. Um, this was one of the worst showcase out there. When I heard from you guys that I missed out on the showcase, I was anticipating 30 minutes to an hour. Only to find out it's literally 80 minutes. I'm like, okay, let's get on with it and be done with it. I went through it and I need my time back. The only thing that I found out is apparently that train game is getting a demo for Switch. I'm like, okay, NPC, but PlayStation, nope. This is what competition does to you, dude. PlayStation should have had that demo, but nope, they don't care. And Nintendo is like, yeah, no, let's not get the demo. And they got it. So yeah, that's about it for me.
Yeah, Nintendo has been getting and pulling a lot of like
And
exclusive
actually, here,
demos lately.
because I just saw it
Can you
waiting. I
not
meant
hear me?
writing on YouTube. Okay, so then let's move on to the next topic, shall we?
Yeah, he's talking and we can hear him in the show, but we can't hear him on the Discord for some reason.
What happened? Okay, I thought he cleared me out.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
we can
Yeah.
hear you.
Yeah, I don't know why Discord wanted to have a heart attack randomly, but Omar was just like talking over me like entirely. So
Wait, we didn't hear you. There was no
I
audio.
heard that
I know. I
already.
had to explain to Omar that we could hear him on YouTube, but not on the Discord.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't hear it. I don't listen to YouTube, otherwise I can focus on you guys. My bad.
Yeah, we know.
But
It's fine.
yeah, go ahead, Unite.
Yeah, so obviously the next topic here, the main thing that happened this week, uh, Asha Sharma, the new Xbox CEO, tweeted about their new commitment to their next generation console and her being excited after having a discussion with the team and them announcing the code name for the next Xbox, Project Helix. Um, a lot of people, are obviously starting a lot of speculation. They're kind of hinting at they're definitely still going for that hybrid of a console PC. Again, not really sure how this is going to work. That's the real question. They seem confident about it right now, but I mean, we've also seen Xbox be confident in the past and then come out and fumble like crazy. Um, so obviously, Xbox fans, got up in arms when Jeff tweeted and called it a PC. Uh, and they wanted to be like, no, it's a console, and it's like, okay, well, apparently it's both. So again, I don't understand why they're crying about that. But again, nobody knows how much this thing is going to be. People are speculating and throwing out that it's going to have the performance of an RTX 5080. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know about that. RTX 5080 is pretty high up there. I mean, even at MSRP, that's $1,000 graphics card, not including the rest of the components. So I'm not really sure about that. Um, but we'll see. Obviously, it's gonna use the latest FSR and some other things when they do finally get it going. But yeah, AMD is definitely behind when it comes on the power narrative. So it's going to be questionable because obviously this device is going to have to. People kind of forget that the device has to be finalized, months before in order for them to ramp up stock. So it's not like, hey, they can just wait until, July next year and then start ramping up production and start producing this. They wouldn't have enough units for launch. So what exactly this is going to be is hard to say, but obviously, like I said, you've seen a lot of people be really hopeful, talk about, how great it's going to be that they can play both, PC and get access to all the PC exclusives and indie titles that they normally wouldn't, while also having direct access to some of their Xbox library and backwards compatibility. Again, if it's this smooth and this seamless, we'll see. Obviously, it has not been a smooth ride for the Xbox ROG Ally, which was, alluded to being a preview to kind of the direction they're going for this new device when Sarah Bond was on. So, yeah, I don't know where all this optimism is coming from. From an enthusiast or tech enthusiast point of view, I'm always excited for new hardware, but honestly, I just don't see this really fitting into my niche. And someone who's a PlayStation fan, I don't really see them convincing them either. And coming out early is not going to be enough. So, if they come out a year ahead of the PlayStation 6, honestly, I think it's just going to be a detriment to them because PlayStation, I think, is going to, be at their strongest at that time with their releases with like Wolverine, Intergalactic, and so on. So I really don't think them getting an early jump is going to be that big of a factor. Not to mention price, right? They claim they're not taking a loss on this device at all. Day one, they're at minimum breaking even, right? Most likely looking for a profit of some sort, which is going to exponentially boost the price of this thing, especially if it's as powerful as people are thinking it's going to be. But yeah, I mean, we'll see. Initial impressions, based on the limited info we have. Omar, how are you feeling about the excitement and everything going on with Project Helix?
Dude, you're really gonna go with me for now. First, okay. I I don't know how well it's going to do. Like you guys know, I'm not a PC person. Well, I own a PC, but like I'm not a tech person. But I read, not rumors, like word on street is gonna be between 1K or 1,200. Is that realistic, enough?
I mean, they better hope it is, because if it's more than that, it's definitely going to be DOA.
Okay, let's say is that it, and word on street is gonna be 25% more faster than PS6. Okay, let's
Oh,
say
who told you that one? That's
I
crazy.
said I saw that on.
Oh, that must
I
have been
saw
some
it.
bot, because
No, it's
they,
literally an
they,
article. No,
yeah,
it
they
was an
wouldn't,
article, not from bot.
yeah, they wouldn't
Uh,
have that info. So that's interesting that they
okay,
deigned to put that out
so
there. But okay,
mm, okay, let's go with it for the argument's sake. Let's say PlayStation 6 is gonna cost 800, just for argument's sake. Cause if it's true that PlayStation is gonna be weaker than the next Xbox, it's gonna cost less, right? Or do you think they're gonna cost the same?
I mean, if they're weaker, they're definitely going to cost less. But I'm pretty sure PlayStation, especially if they come out later, they're going to undercut them regardless, because that's what you do in business.
Another thing, are they gonna release a Series S version, or did they learn from their own fuck up with their Series S? So I'm curious about that.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know if
Other
there's going
than
to be multiple iterations of this device. As of right now, it's just one new device.
other than that, why would you take that over? So, what's more powerful, this or the Steam machine?
That we don't know as of right. If you
This
go
man
based
asking a lot
on,
of questions.
I mean, if you're going
Oh,
based,
okay. So,
I mean, if you're going
oh,
based on rumors, then this device is going to be more powerful. But neither one
so
of them are finalized yet or out. So, I mean, it's not going to
okay.
really matter right now. We don't know what the Steam machine's price is going to be. Like that's the
Yeah,
kind of the
it's just
problem.
to me. It to me, it's like who is your main target with this one? PC people have a PC. PC people gonna invest in a Steam machine, not in this. They don't like. I can't I'm not comprehending what is this supposed to be. Who is its main audience? I like you get. I don't know. It feels redundant, doesn't it? You already your game's already on PC. You I don't know. I I legit don't know who their main target is with this one. So I'm just gonna wait and see what the price is, how the PlayStation 6 is going to be, how the difference between it and PS6. Like one thing for sure, Xbox is no longer the competition. They are legit going their own lane. And it feels like the only way this console would make sense if they kill day and date on PC and PlayStation. But we know they're not gonna do that, so what's the point of this hybrid? Whose idea is it to create this hybrid? I have so many questions. Skip me. I have, yeah, I'm curious what you guys can say about this one.
Cool. Morgan, after seeing the information that we have so far about Project Helix, what are your opinions on the future of Xbox and the optimism that we're seeing from the known fan base?
Okay, to answer your question, the console's just for the hardcore. It's not. They're not for anybody else. Xbox is completely aware that they're not going to sell to the masses, especially if it's a high end product that's going to be over $1,000. So this is for the people who bought the ROG Ally X, the people who are just to champion Xbox no matter what and just buy the shit no matter what. That's who this is for. Um, to answer that question. The second part is like I don't think Xbox cares that they're not going to sell that many, like it because they're going to sell this to make a profit. They're not going to sell it at a loss. They're not going to subsidize it. They're not going to do anything. It's going to sell and they're going to make money off of it.
Mm-hmm.
What each PC hybrid that they sell is going to sell at a profit. So that's why they don't really care if they sell 5 to 10 million of them because that's probably what they're going to sell, 5 to 10 million. This is supposed to be stronger than the Steam machine. But I mean, the reason they're doing the whole the PC hybrid thing, I honestly believe it's just because they really want to get out of hardware, so they're kind of leaning people into the PC ecosystem to try to get them used to it, so that they can fully dip out in the next generation by being like, well, your entire library is already on PC because you had a PC hybrid that had PC games, and you're used to Steam and you're used to the Microsoft Store. So now for the next generation during the PS7, we have the option to kind of get out of hardware. And if you want to
Yeah.
access Xbox games, you can just play them on PC or play them on PlayStation. At least that was the kind of the plan during the Phil regime. I don't know if Asha wants to come in and do something different, but that was definitely the plan with Phil and Sarah.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna get more information next week because that's when the GDC is. That's what she said. We're gonna get more information about it during GDC. So we'll see what goes on with it. I don't expect this to be any less than 1,000. I think 1,000 is
Yeah, I think it's the
the
bottom
lowest that they'll
line.
go. I think that's a hopeful price. I'm thinking it's gonna be like 12 to 1,300. And at that price point, you kind of lose console players. But like I said, this isn't really for the masses. This is just for like the hardcore. So again, they don't really care.
I have a question. Do you know
But
how much Scorpio sold?
no one knows how much Scorpio sold. Xbox doesn't disclose their numbers.
Yeah.
Um,
Because this is like another
Scor-
Scorpio, right?
Scorpio was Xbox One. Scarlet is Series X. Which one are you talking about?
I'm talking about the stronger version of what they came up with beforehand.
Thanks
No,
for
I'm
the
saying
one
which.
X.
That was the Xbox One X, and
I'm
no,
saying
they never said
Scorpio
it.
is Xbox One. If you're
Oh,
asking about the Series X and S, that's Scarlet.
oh no, I'm talking about last gen when they released that upgrade, and I think
The One X.
not a lot of people
Yeah.
bought it.
I
So,
mean, not a
and
lot of
I
people buy
remember
pro consoles, so
they called that niche, and it's for the hardcore.
yeah.
But if not a lot of people bought that, what makes you think they're gonna buy this one? But yeah, carry on.
Again, yeah, but again, Omar, they don't care though. Like you're coming from the perspective that they care about selling 100 million. I mean, they would in a perfect world. I mean, would they like to sell 100 million? Absolutely, but are they going to be upset that they don't? No, because I think they're fully aware that they're only going to be selling about 5 to 10 million of these consoles, but they're not going to be in the position that they are with the Series X and S, where every time they sell a Series X and an S, they lose money because well, at least they did. When they sold it at 500, they were selling it at a loss where they were losing money. So now they're going to price it that they're not losing money. So everyone that they sell is going to be a profit. So I don't think they care if they reach the 100 million that PlayStation is. But the thing about it is, I'm just interested to see what exactly is the change that Asha is going to bring about, the return of Xbox. Her campaign has been a focus on putting the console first, which I find funny because if you go to the YouTube, the campaign they had for Project Scarlet and Scorpio, they said the exact same thing. Like they literally said, this is about putting consoles first. Like we are on PC, we're on cloud, but we want to put console. That's like you can look it up. That's literally what they said. She's literally reiterating what they already said with Series X. So it's like, okay, so are we changing or are we just going back to 2020 2020 or 2019 or whatever, because y'all were saying the same thing back then, but we see the path that Xbox took. So she's reiterating the same talking points that Phil said back in 2019. So I'm trying to figure out what exactly is it that Asha is going to do that's different. Now, that's why I'm saying the only thing that I could think of is a return to the exclusives. Like I said, this year's pretty much set. Fable's already coming out to PlayStation. It doesn't really matter at that point. Forza is too. But maybe for the next generation, they'll implement bringing back exclusives, at least, uh, to the Xbox ecosystem, which includes PC, but not PlayStation. But the problem with that I talked about this with Nate the other day. I was like, even if, let's say, a scenario they announce that PlayStation games or Xbox games will no longer come PlayStation. Let's say they started in 2027 or whatever. The issue with that is I don't know that how that's going to help the health of the console, because there's so many mitigating factors to the point where I don't know if that'll be beneficial. It's beneficial for PlayStation because they are in the advantageous position where they have 90 million consoles out there, right? So at least just on PS5, right? So they're healthy. They can take games off of a platform and not have really any high negative effects for the change. Xbox is in a different position where they're only at like 30 to 35 million. The number keeps floating like up and down or whatever, but it's roughly around 30 to 35 million consoles. And when you have that little consoles, it's hard to be in a winning position where exclusives will really do anything. You're at the end of the generation. Your console isn't selling, and on top of that, your console is very expensive. So if you locking games away from or taking games away from PlayStation, to say come over to my platform when your platform is the most expensive as far as consoles goes, right? A Series X right now is like 600, 650. And then a Series S is around the same price as a PS5 right now, which is ridiculous because it's like, why would I spend the same amount to get less power? So it's like there's no really how do you convince somebody like, okay, you want this exclusive, but you got to come over here and it's going to be expensive to come over here. So in order to do that, she's going to have to start lowering the price of the Series X and S to at least match PlayStation's prices. And on top of that, there's another hurdle in her way if she does decide to make games exclusives is that there are too many avenues in which you can access Xbox games. It's like, even if she takes it off PlayStation, I could just go to the cloud, right? That's what I was doing initially, right? I was playing it via xCloud or going to GeForce Now, playing it on, which is streaming off of a 470. So I was playing games at 4K 60 with ray tracing off of GeForce Now, like literally all the Xbox games. So it's like there's too many avenues to access Xbox games. So that's not enough to incentivize me to go get an Xbox, because I could just play it on the cloud, on xCloud. I could play it on GeForce Now. I could play it on my tablet. I could play it on my phone. There's just too many places where you can play it. And because they don't have that walled garden around their console, there's not enough of an incentive to get me or maybe anybody to get an Xbox. So as I'm saying, like, in order to do it, they would have to cut off some of the ways that you could play Xbox games, and I don't see them doing that. Right? They're too invested in cloud. Right? They keep, it's a part of the Game Pass strategy, right? It's implemented into Game Pass Ultimate, right? You get the cloud, you get all this stuff, right? Like, and again, I see them in the future getting rid of PC Game Pass. I've been saying that for a while. I was like, there's just really no incentive to keep it, especially now that you're releasing a PC hybrid, because what's stopping me from just subscribing to PC Game Pass when I get this PC hybrid, since it's the PC, right? I'm not paying $30. I'll just pay the 15 or whatever PC Game Pass costs. Like, and they don't want that. They want you paying the $30, so they're just gonna cut that off. So there's too much working against Xbox, right? But PlayStation only had just one way to get their games. You either get a PlayStation or, with the PC thing, then you get a PC, right? You play it on your PC. But now that PC's cut off, the only really avenue that you can do is buying PlayStation hardware. And that's why they're in a more advantageous position to be able to cut off, because there's no other way to get it, right? So that helps if people want to play their games. It grows their hardware because you have to buy their hardware. With Xbox, even with PlayStation cut off, you don't have to get their hardware to get their games. So I don't know how it's going to help the console base, because that's what she wants to do, right? Help the console base, help it grow. I don't really know how that's going to help. That's why I'm like, even though I want them to do exclusives, she might come to the same conclusion as me, as that won't really help, because there's just too many ways to access Xbox games. So, maybe somebody will just go to PC, or maybe they'll just go to cloud, right? Um, but yeah, I'm like the whatever that they're gonna do with Project Helix, I'm very interested to see. Like, again, I don't really know how they're gonna make money if somebody buys a game off of Steam, off of their machine. Like, if I buy this Project Helix and I buy, let's for example, The Witcher 4 off of Steam, 70% of that goes to CD Project Red, the other 30% goes to Steam. What percentage is Xbox getting? Unless they've worked out some deal with Steam where they get like a 5% or something off of their sale. But I don't know if Steam's gonna relent that. Like,
Yeah,
why? Why
I
would
don't
they?
think they are.
They're like, what does Steam get out of that? Like,
Like, I'm
I
giving
don't
you a cut of
know.
my bread for no reason.
Yeah, why am I giving you a cut for what? You're using my store. Like, why should I give you a cut out of what, the kindness of my heart? I don't know about that. So it's like, and it's not like, again, if PlayStation was to have a Steam store, maybe that, maybe Steam would be more willing to give a cut, because hey, that's 90 million players that now have access to my storefront. So maybe there's an incentive to give PlayStation a little piece, just so I can access that 90 million, right? But with Xbox, again, it's like 30 million right now. And with this Project Helix, if it announces and it's like $1,200 to $1,300, that 30 million is going to be cut in half. 15, and the 15 that left are going to be going to Steam anyway. Probably going to PC. So again,
Exactly.
what does Steam get out of this by giving a cut to Xbox? So I'm curious. I'm like, how does this help Xbox? Like, you put Steam on my machine, I'm gonna buy stuff off of Steam, because Steam has more sales, right? I can, for a game that's full price, like Resident Evil 9, for example, the Requiem, right? It was like $70 on PS5. You can get it on Steam for like what, 50 or something. How much did you get it on Green Man Gaming, Nate?
The deluxe edition, and I got it for 15% off. So I got it for like
That's what I'm saying.
68, but it was eight. It was
That's
80,
Yeah, but
but I
it's the
got it for
deluxe
68.
edition, which,
Yeah,
exactly. So that's my point. Steam has way better sales. So why the hell would I buy it off the Microsoft store if I could just get it off of Steam for less? So that's where I'm confused. Like how exactly does this help Xbox? Like, where are they getting any kind of cut? The same way with the Epic Store. Like, unless they've worked out a deal with Steam and Epic, but I don't really know why Steam would care about working out a deal. But I'm not in their business. Maybe they figure something out that it works out for both teams. That's why I'm interested to see how exactly this is going to work. Is Steam installed? Or maybe they're doing it in a way where it's Xbox store and like the Microsoft store, their PC store is installed. But if you want Steam, you have to install it. And maybe they're hoping people just won't know how to do that, right? Because they're going to be laymen who just, assume everything's already ready in the console, right? Like, they're like, oh, to access PC, I'll just buy stuff off of the Microsoft store, and maybe they don't feel like going out of their way to install Steam or learning how to do that. And maybe that's kind of Xbox trying to not necessarily trick them, but kind of like nudge them in the way of their PC storefront so that they get a cut. Maybe that's what
yeah,
they're gonna do.
that is a wild gamble to me.
Yeah, it is. It's like I've been sitting here. I've been like literally ever since this was rumored. I've been asking Nate, how the hell is that going to work in Xbox's favor? Like, I don't understand how buying a game on Steam helps Xbox, because you're just taking a sale that you could have got on your store and now giving it to someone else's store. Again, that's one of the main points that I want her to talk about, exactly how the hell they benefit from that. Because
Agreed.
if this happens, like, I only see it just going in a worse way for Xbox. Like, they thought their revenue was bad now. Like, I don't see their financials looking really good if everybody's buying shit off of Steam instead of the Microsoft store.
This is true.
Um so that's one that I'm really curious about. I'm wondering if we're gonna get like a complete look at the console, like a breakdown of it, like its power. I don't expect, just FYI for people out there, if they're expecting it to hear a price, don't. I don't. You're not gonna hear the price until next year.
Yeah,
relatively
I
close
don't
to
think it'll
the
be till next year.
announcement of the console. You're not going to hear a price at GDC. They're like they still have time before they even start manufacturing it and putting it out there, and getting the actual name out there. Like there's still time. They got a whole year and a half before this console supposedly releases. So we're not getting a price right now. Components might go down next year or up next year, so they don't
Yeah,
have anything
that's the big
solidified.
thing.
Yeah, so don't go in there in GDC expecting to see a price, because you're not going to. You just might go see like a breakdown of what they expect. Maybe we'll get a look at the UI. But that's kind of a they might just kind of go over it exactly what they expect from the device. But yeah, we're not gonna get any price points. But yeah, this is all very interesting. Project Helix. I find it funny. I think a little bit though that this code name was picked specifically to kind of gel with her vision, because if Asha has been specifically talking about the DNA of Xbox, going back to the roots and the DNA, and now the code name for the new project is Project Helix, which a helix is the shape of the DNA strand. Oh man, what a coincidence. like oh man, I think this is all of this is entwined to kind of make Asha look good, right? Like even though
Absolutely.
this project has been going on for a while, right? We've known about this next console for like a year and a half already, right? We've known about this shit since 2024, 2023. But so this isn't something that she's done, right? Like this console and what's happening with it and its components and it's whatever it's doing is not credited to her, right? This has been years in the making, but they want it associated with her. They want everything positive associated with Asha, right? The new console for the new regime. Here's Asha. She's talking about DNA. Here's the Project Helix, right? I'm excited about talking about it and going back to the console, right? She keeps reiterating those words, going back to the console. We need to focus on the console, and I'm very curious exactly how are you going to focus on the console, because if it isn't exclusives, really what else is there? Like what can you do to make the Xbox fans feel like they're the number one consumer base? Because right now they're not, and it's very evident that they're not. The way they market, the way that they talk about the games, the way that the PlayStation logo and everything else is slapped on everything, like the way the devs talk about how excited they are to see their games coming to PlayStation, just everything about it. They got the last year with the Halo creative director wearing a PlayStation shirt saying, yeah, Halo is on PlayStation from this point moving forward. We're excited about it. I'm just like, yo, come on, bro. Like just everything that they're doing is just seems like Xbox is like, and its console base is just not a priority. But I get that when they're not the ones that have the spending power anymore. But at the same day, it's like a catch-22, because you train them to not be the spending power. You train them to use Game Pass and that be their way that they access games. So
Mm-hmm.
now they don't have the power. They don't have the spending power anymore. That's not what they hold. They just have the Game Pass. Which is why, funny enough, now you see people being willing to give up day one games and Game Pass just so they can have exclusives. I've seen so many Xbox dudes just eyes wake up that now they're aware that, maybe Game Pass wasn't a good idea. Like maybe day one games, our AAA day one games being in Game Pass wasn't great. Like they're all waking up to the fact that Game Pass is just wasn't sustainable. It wasn't smart. It's done nothing to help the brand of Xbox, right? And its place in the industry. It's really done nothing but be negative, right? It's really done nothing but train people to just not buy games, which hasn't helped them at all. So it's like they're willing to now give it up. I mean, I'm happy that you finally realize what we've been saying since the moment that Phil announced it, that this was not a good idea. Um, but again, it's because a lot of Xbox fans and the Xbox company look at things through the lens of short-term gain. They're willing to sacrifice long-term investment for short-term gain. And that's kind of been the Xbox's motto with everything. Like they make quick decisions because they want that short term, but they don't think about the negative consequences that will happen long term. And hopefully now that they've seen what the repercussions for said decisions, that have been happening, maybe they'll Xbox fans. I hope they will start looking at things through the long term lens and be like, oh man, this is good today, but how will this pan out in a year or two? Because that's how y'all need to be thinking. If at least if you want Xbox to exist in the future, right? If you don't care, you're just, hey, I'm here for the games, I don't care. The brand could die tomorrow and I'm good. Then cool, just keep buying your games the way you want, do whatever. But if you really care about the health of the console and you want to see Xbox exist, decades from now, you need to start thinking long term about some of the decisions Xbox is making, and what the repercussions will be for said decisions. I'm hoping with the Project Helix, this will be kind of a fresh start for Xbox. I mean, that's kind of how they're trying to message it, as this is a going back. This is a starting fresh. This is just focusing on the console again. But again, it's Xbox executives love to talk. They love to
Yeah,
talk.
they
They
do.
love to be in there with the fans. They love to get on Twitter and be like, "I love you. You're my. You guys are my bread and butter. Whatever. Yada yada yada." But when it comes to action, then they love stepping on rakes and shit. So it's like, we shall see what happens. I'm hoping Asha brings in that competitive spirit that she's been talking about so damn much. I hope she comes back to that. I hope Project Helix works out well. And if they lock people off and they say, hey, no games will be on PlayStation, and they start making it has to be, it can't just be the current state of Xbox games being exclusive, because they've all, like, I'm gonna be real, most of them have been mid at best. Okay.
Yeah.
They've been okay, they've been good, but nothing groundbreaking and great, nothing that says, man, I need to play that day one, bro. I can't wait for it to come to PlayStation, like if it's like a delay, like I need to play that shit day one.
At least
Right.
nothing that isn't already coming.
Right. Like they got that with Forza, because I know Nate, he already pre-ordered that shit, deluxe edition on his PC or whatever. Right. Like he ain't waiting for PlayStation for that. But they need that with all of their titles, right? They need that. Like, and if they get that quality bar, as well as put up a wall, that walled garden, then they might actually be able to push some consoles. Like, and that's why I'm like we said, I kind of roll my eyes at Phil when he said, "Oh, Starfield could be an 11, but it won't matter. It won't sell consoles." Like, yeah, sure, one game might not, but if you have a consistent pattern of releasing 11 out of 10s, then hell yeah, it will, right? Because that's how PlayStation does it. They just PS4, bro, it was consistent. It was like bam Horizon, bam Spider-Man, bam God of War. People were like, God damn, PlayStation chill. Like, and it just, people, the sales were just speaking for themselves. It was just stacking. And that's what Xbox needs to do. They need to start moving in a quality bar. They need to start paying attention and not just releasing okay games. They can't just be sitting on their laurels and feels like, oh, I tried out a game and oh, internally it tested as an 8 out of 10, but then fucking Redfall comes out and it's a fucking 52. I'm like, bro, how the hell did that test internally as an 80? Like, all those glitches and all those bugs didn't come through in the testing. Like, bro, what are you talking about? Me and Nate played that shit day one, and that shit was like the fucking NPCs, the enemy NPCs were nowhere to be found. We were just running through the town, like, where's everybody at? Like, where are the enemies? This shit was boring. Like, it was just, I
I
just
mean,
don't, and
you
it's just
had
how
enemies in the street that were frozen, that were supposed to be
just
reacting
standing
to
there.
you.
I'm like, I shoot him. I'm like, bro, he ain't even doing nothing. Like, what is going on? And I'm sure it's a much better game now, but they patched it and worked on it. The studio's gone, but I'm sure at current state, but it's just like, that's how they released it. And I'm just like, this is Xbox's problem, man. They don't have good quality control when it comes to their big titles, and they're scratching their head trying to figure out, oh man, why is Avowed and Outer Worlds 2 not meeting expectations? Oh man, if the sales were bad, like, bro, come on, you have to start, like, they need that, what PlayStation had in the PS4 when Shoot, like we keep using this example, when Shoot came down to Santa Monica and was just like looking at Corey like, bro, this ain't it. What the fuck is this shit? And Corey scratching his head like, what do you mean? Like, and he's just like, this is not good. Redo it. Like, and I think that was kind of Phil's problem, as far as the Phil regime goes. I think, everybody likes to call him nice guy Phil, and I'm sure he's a great guy. And I think that's probably one of the problems with him as a head. Maybe he was just too nice and he didn't want to hurt people's feelings, right? Like, he, that's why he going down to Redfall and playing the game and he loves it. Oh, I'm going down over here and I'm playing this game and it's amazing, right? Like, that's just how he is. He just wants to be nice. But they need somebody who's gonna look at it objectively and be like, this shit is ass. What is this? And then they look like the I'm sure the developers aren't gonna appreciate that initially, but that's what you need. And maybe that's why it's good Asha isn't a gamer. She can come in, look at shit objectively and be like, what is that? that isn't good. I'm not enjoying that at all. Like I don't. Why does it look like that? Why does it play like that? I don't know. Redo that. And I think that's what Xbox needs. They need somebody who's not going to be their friend and come in and tell them the truth, because a lot of this shit is just going by the wayside. A lot of shit is mid, and Phil just signs off on it like, oh, it's fine. And then surprise when shit is like 80 or less on Metacritic, and then not moving the needle for Game Pass and not moving the needle for sales. Like that cannot keep going. They need to start hitting these must play type of titles. They need to start getting game of the year contenders. They need to start getting the titles that everybody's talking about. And I don't know if they're going to get that. But hopefully with this, again, this new regime of Asha coming through and this new console coming through, maybe it'll be a restart. That's kind of what I was hoping the Series S and X would be, but that didn't pan out. But hopefully, again, with new somebody in charge, this will be a restart with Xbox's quality bar, and the Helix will launch with some must play titles. Maybe it'll launch with Elder Scrolls 6 as being exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem. That's a pusher now. But only if Todd hits certain metrics on it, because look, Bethesda ain't what they used to be. But hopefully, Elder Scrolls 6 will hit. And if Elder Scrolls 6 hits and it's exclusive to Xbox, that's a console seller. Okay, that could do it, but only if you meet a quality bar and it's consistent within Xbox. The Xbox has to change their the way people feel about them, because that's why people are not buying Xboxes, because even people who are casuals who don't even care about first party or don't even care about like the console war, they even call Xbox trash. People who don't even know you call you trash, bro. That's crazy. Just because that's the colloquialism that goes around within gaming, is that Xbox is trash. Like no matter what, it's up to Asha to kind of change that narrative that people associate with Xbox, and that's a hard thing to change, because once people think that something is trash, it's really hard to get people to turn around and be like, you know what, this actually is great. This is actually really cool. I was wrong about that. It's hard, especially in gaming. Gamers are hard headed and they're stubborn. They don't really like to change their mind. So there's an uphill battle with Project Helix, but if it hits all the points that it needs to, it could possibly do it. But again, it's an uphill battle. So we'll see. But I'm excited just as a gamer, just to see what's going to happen with Project Helix, just because I like new consoles, new tech. Sounds cool. So I'm my curiosity is just overwhelming is exactly what it'll be. But yeah, that's how I feel. Sorry, it was kind of long winded.
No, I agree. This I don't know where this Disney World level of optimism is coming from a lot of these people, from something we've barely heard, anything about.
They do it every generation, man.
Every generation. Like
I think it's just when
wild.
you're so down in the dumps, there's really nowhere to go but up. Like, they can't, they can't disappoint me this time, right? They can't fail me again, right?
So they think, man. It's they about 2 seconds from start singing Annie's song. It's the hard knock life. At this point. Instead of get games, we get tech.
It's a Stockholm syndrome, eh? It's a Stockholm syndrome. Literally, first start of this generation, Xbox have a first round, it's gonna do amazing. Last generation, Xbox was just gearing up, it's gonna be better. And next generation now, Xbox is gonna go back to me. Like, unless they drop day and date and get back exclusivity, I don't think that they will ever move the needle.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're going to, given that this next device is a hybrid. And I don't know what's with their fan base. They seem to be stuck on PC being a part of their ecosystem, and they're on this whole.
Dude, I think it's too late to remove PC. It's just too ingratiated with the Xbox now at this point.
Yeah, like they don't even mention, like when they say bring back our exclusives, they're saying PC and Xbox, and I'm like, y'all really don't get how
It's
this
like,
works,
when
huh?
you're making a PC, can you cut off PC?
Well, exactly.
Like you're literally
So it's
making
like
a PC right now.
they don't even have a choice from either the consumer side or their side, because they kind of lock themselves into this.
Yeah.
So I just don't think it's gonna be enough. Like I said, color me impressed if they manage to strike some sort of deal with Steam, where they manage to get a cut as long as it comes through, their device or something. Um, because that's the only real way. Like we were saying, how they're gonna continue to make money on that device if people just buy a bunch of third party stuff through Steam or something. So it'll be interesting. Yeah, because clearly Play Anywhere is not enough. Um, Plenty of people do not care about that initiative. Um, but yeah, Weave, your final thoughts here.
My final thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I mean, I already kind of gave it away. I don't believe that whatever hope and dreams they have is gonna come to fruition. I mean, when they say it's gonna next Xbox, I mean, it's gonna be as we all expect, just PC. It's gonna be charged a premium, and yeah, I mean it's not gonna move the needle in any way. Like I mean, I can understand, like I said, that PlayStation might be concerned, at least cautious. I suppose is maybe the better word. Like
Mm-hmm.
they just don't want to have that brand damage. You know that their games being played on what Microsoft calls a console, or a hybrid console, or an Xbox, whatever they want to call it.
Yeah, they tried to
But
slide the
yeah,
the Trojan horse approach, and
yeah.
PlayStation called that bluff before it even got in the wild.
Yeah, instead of yeah, we can't make great games. Let's just put our PlayStation games on our console. Let's just instead of having asking them to put it on our console, we just make a PC called a console and add, hey, lo and behold, PlayStation
Exactly.
games are on our platform. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, like uh, I heard some. I mean, I've seen some people talking about it, like on YouTube and articles about what it could possibly mean. I saw like an IGN article where there's speculating. Oh yeah, it could be a device that plays your Xbox games and your PC games, and like, okay, that I mean it's pretty easy, if you have a digital only device, just put PC Game Pass on there. If it's if it has a disk drive, um, yeah, then they're basically just gonna release one version of their game, which is gonna be the PC version, and yeah, it's an Xbox game, right? And I really wonder what they're gonna do with their backwards compatibility. If they're actually gonna put some effort in there, or just gonna say, yeah, if you want to play your old Xbox games, well, we have a device for that. It's called the Xbox One X. Um,
That's what they're gonna say when this new console launches at like $1,200. And people are like, oh my god, I can't afford that. Asha's gonna be like, well, we have a console for you. It's called the Series X and S.
exactly. History has a tendency to repeat, and I mean we can say that with tongue in cheek, but it's very. I mean, I think what was the CEO again before? I keep forgetting his name, before Phil Spencer.
Don Matrick.
Don Matrick.
Don Metric, exactly. But I don't think Don Metric came from any gaming background, right?
No, he didn't.
No, exactly. I think that's probably the default response of anybody who's coming in with no gaming background. They're gonna try the same thing over and over again, hoping it sticks. I would not be surprised if indeed she's gonna repeat that. And the only problem, or say the difference between the two, is that I think Don Matchrick is more in like sort of clueless, right? Like, what do we do with this, with Xbox, with this sort of odd duck out in our division? Like, we still, as a company, as Microsoft, we still don't know what to do with this. Um, and I think Asha sort of has a directive, has orders from above to, she knows what she needs to do with this. And yeah, the question remains: is it, is she there to somehow save Xbox, or is she there to just sunset it, to uh, put it out of its misery, but euthanize it, with but with care, or just outright destroy it by just you know putting AI on everything, and then just like, yeah, sorry Satya, I tried. Like, yeah, apparently people don't want to play AI generated games. Now, who knew? You know, let's close the book on this and just pretend it never happened. Um, that I see that also as, as a possibility. Um, it is interesting, yeah. Like you said, like they're coming out with it. I mean, it's not interesting in the sense that like very predictable. Like they're just going to rebrand indeed what we already knew. She's probably indeed what Sarah Bond already, at least that she talked about. I mean, I was saying that she's the one who thought about the idea. Let's have another Xbox, whatever it's going to be. Um, but I'm, I don't really have any high hopes for this. I mean,
Yeah.
everything they've done so far this generation. Like, here's the thing, I what I'm hearing as well, like Phil is a nice guy, like, and I think in terms of like a people manager, he seems to be pretty decent. Like, I'd rather work for someone like Phil than, let's say, Randy Pitchford. Um, but you know, and I suppose if you're one of the people who were laid off during his tenure, I think you would probably be talking differently. But I mean, he was terrible for the brand, like for um, or at least I mean the brand. Maybe he maybe successfully turned it into sort of a cult. So I guess that's something he can take credit for. But in terms of actually producing a brand that's just known for quality, that's actually you know for gamers, that actually is something that you can take pride in as a gamer. Like, yeah, he wasn't great in that. Like, I mean, it's fairly, it's people credit him for saving Xbox, and yeah, he probably did that. But the only thing he did is basically put it on life support. He's not actually done anything with it. He's not managed to turn it around despite spending billions of dollars on it. Nothing has worked. And I think at some point you do have to realize that if whatever you do isn't working, yeah, maybe you're the problem. You know, and yeah, maybe he was too nice. I doubt that, but I think it's just a culture of people who have no idea what they're doing, and they keep hiring people or putting people in positions of yeah being able to make decisions that don't really have any clue what they're doing, and then you keep you. This is the result. Like you mentioned, Morgan, like with Redfall, like how the fuck did this test like an 8 out of 10? I think then there's something wrong with your processes, with the people in your company. Like you having, like, just as Herman Hulse had the problem with um fuck, I forgot the name. The Jesus Christ, I having a brain fart here.
Concord.
Concord, exactly. Like with false positivity, that you keep you're not seeing the risks, the problems with this. Uh, I mean, that's part of the entire culture of Xbox since Phil took over. That they just have no clue. Uh, they clearly lost touch with. Like, and he's very good at creating this sort of this almost personality cult around him, where he's you know making Xbox gamers, think that, oh, he's their friend, he's their, he plays with them, he comes to their podcast, so he knows what he's doing. Like, it's gonna be all right, and then Phil you trust, and you see the results, and like none of them is asking, okay, should we maybe, do we need new leadership? Is he doing something wrong? Is he really our Lord and Savior? But yeah, at that point, you're sort of, in too deep. You're too bought in. You drank the Kool Aid. You can't go back. And that's kind of the thing is like, it's very hard for people once you know, went all in, no one to quit. Like that it's sort of the gambler's problem, right? Like people who have a gambling addiction, like they never know when to quit. They just keep on. Oh yeah, next one I will win, right? Like they keep on putting in money, and hope that at some point they will be a winner. You know, I think that's a problem of a lot of these fanboys, a lot of these. I mean, the influencers, the people, the YouTubers, they're just playing the game. They bought in. This is their career. They know that they're gonna have their followers no matter what Xbox does, as long as they keep on message, keep supporting the brand, keep doing whatever who's in charge wants them to say, because otherwise they will lose access and they will no longer be invited to have lunch with them or whatever. Asha is gonna do with them. But yeah, I mean, it is. Um, yeah, I I don't really have any high hopes or high expectations for them. I mean, the only positive thing about this is that if this is what's made PlayStation reconsider their stance on exclusives, yeah, great. If this creates uncertainty, if this create a certain fear of God in them, like great. Let Yeah, great. Good job, Asha. You made PlayStation better, but I have no hopes that you're here to save Xbox. I mean, I think you have a message. I mean, you're probably Terminator sent from the future by Skynet to kill John
Right.
Connor, which in this case is Xbox, because I have no real hope here left. Like it is only a matter of time before this, before the Xbox as we know it disappears, and then all that's left are the memories and the services, I guess, and maybe the games. But yeah, then it's just a third party publisher just putting their games on everything. Yeah. So yeah. Well, I mean, I'm certainly curious how they're gonna what they're gonna come up with, but I'm maybe more curious how they're gonna sell it, because in the end, it's just gonna probably be underneath the PC, and there's probably going to be a whole lot of things like they might just say, yeah, sorry, it's no longer backwards compatible because it's technically a PC. But yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we have a device for you, so don't worry about it. Everything is an Xbox, right? So yeah, yeah. I think I've said enough about the subject. Back to you, Nate.
I wonder if it's messing up again.
No, I can hear you now.
Or
It's
if,
good. It's
oh,
good. I got it. Sorry, it was delayed for a second. But yeah. With that, uh, we're gonna end it there. We're going heading towards the 3 hour mark, so I think that's a good place to stop. Ending it on the notions of what we think about the upcoming Xbox. Um, yeah, I mean they clearly got their work cut out for them. Um, None of us have any idea what in the world they're gonna do with this thing. I mean, color me really surprised if they turn out to really land it and do something crazy and really draw people in. But the combination of things that they're spouting right now just do not sound console friendly. And in the meantime, they're still bleeding users, right? A ton of people I know that were Xbox till they die, they're all on PC now. And most of them are on PC, or if they 100% had to go the console route, um, they were, you know, picking up a PlayStation, and most likely they also have a Switch too, or they plan to get one. So, any combination of things, but no longer an Xbox. And the only people I know that really have an Xbox are people that bought them early on. So, yeah, I don't know what they're going to do to convince the masses to support this thing, but yeah, pricing is going to be important. Answering questions about the complexity of this hybrid nature of this device are going to be important. Um, I don't know. Asha seems super excited right now, but I wonder how long that will last. They really got to start executing on this device. So we'll see what happens. Um, hey, what's up, Thrifty? um, but yeah, like I said, we'll go ahead and get into these outros, and I'm gonna get some food. Um, Weeb, let the people know where they can find you, sir.
Uh, yes, sir. You can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky as the Weep Sheriff at Infinite Rhizome, and as always, Other Nation.
Otter
Otter Nation.
Nation. Morgan, where can the people find you, ma'am?
Yeah, you guys can also find me on Twitter. Um, Laughing at this entire situation. You can also find me on PlayStation at ChillBandit336. Hopefully, knocking down these games. Like I said, March Madness is just beginning with Crimson Desert in and out the month, so it'll be an interesting month. But let's keep it on gaming. Let's play our games. Let's focus on the games. I know there's some crazy news going on about where games are going and what's going on, like as far as exclusivity, but there's too many games to play right now to be upset about any direction that any company is going. So, focus on the positive and play some great games. Otter Nation.
Otter Nation.
Other Nation.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you there. There's just too much to play. Most people I know are playing multiple things. I know Henry is excited out there for all the multiplayer games releasing. So yeah, I mean it pick and choose, and you're gonna land on something you want to play. Um, but yeah, Omar.
Wait, people play games?
No,
Some of us.
I thought we just talk about them. We don't game. You know, frauds. But yeah, it's out everyone that came through. Hit the like button, share the stream out. You can find me at Carbon Job on Twitter. Surviving this chaos. Stay safe. Just do what you want to do because you never know what's going on with this world right now. Anything can happen. Most importantly, play your games.
Agreed. And I am your host, Innate, also known as the Real Innate on Twitter and Blue Sky. Again, thank you everybody for joining us today. That will be the end of our show. Like I said, we're gonna go ahead and get up out of here, get back to these games. I'm gonna go ahead and jump back into Xenoblade Chronicles 2 because I'm pretty sure I'm actually gonna beat it probably tonight. Funny enough, if I don't stop to make sure you do all the things that you should do before you get to like a new game plus or something. And then honestly, probably jump right back into um, Resident Evil 9. Might get a 2-for-1 tonight, which would be nice. Get me nice and caught up before Monster Hunter Stories next week. But yeah, like I said, thank you again for everybody that joined us. It was a lot of fun chatting with everybody, having the conversations, kind of seeing where everybody's headspace is at with a lot of these conversations and the direction that a lot of these things are going. Um, but yeah, one thing's for sure, PlayStation, like I said, they got to keep their foot on the gas. Um, and seems like refocusing and listening to what fans want is something they're working on right now. So let's see if they stay the course and see if Xbox can surprise us. But yeah, with that, we're gonna get up out of here. Otter Nation.
Other Nation.
Otter Nation.